Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORION NWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the NLDS game number 4. Padres lead 2-1. We got the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the San Diego Padres. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 8 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's go into the starting lineups. Happy Wednesday, everyone. And on the thumb on the left, we got Showtime, Shohei Ohtani. And on the right, San Diego's equivalent to Shohei Ohtani, Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's go, baby. Now let's start it off with the starting lineups first for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Leading off for the Dodgers at DH, it's Showtime, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, playing right field, Mookie Betts. Batting third, the former Mariner Blue Jay left fielder, Teoscar Hernandez. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, Mad Max Muncy. Batting fifth, catching tonight for Los Angeles, Will Smith. Batting sixth, playing shortstop for LA, Tommy Edman. Batting seventh, playing second base, Gavin Lux. Batting eighth, playing third base for the Dodgers, Kike Hernandez. And batting ninth, playing center field, Chris Taylor. And if you're looking at the starting lineup and you feel like someone is missing, it is Freddie Freeman. It's day to day. So obviously not having Freddie in the lineup is huge. So we'll see what happens here tonight. And on the mound for the Dodgers, you already know who it is, Ryan Brazier. Now let's get into the starting lineups here for the home San Diego Padres. Leading off for the Padres at first base, Luis Arraez, the best hitter in baseball, period. The modern-day Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second, playing right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting third, playing left field, hit it far, throw it far, Jurickson Profar. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, third baseman, Manny Machado. Batting fifth, playing center field, Jackson Merrill. Batting sixth, playing shortstop for the Padres, Xander Bogaerts. Batting seventh, DHing for San Diego, David Peralta. Batting eighth, playing second base, it's the Crone Zone, Jake Cronenworth. And batting ninth, catching, the former Yankee, Kyle Higashioka. And on the mound for the Padres, it is Dylan Cease. Had a no-hitter earlier in the year. Will he bring that magic here tonight? We will find out. Let's go, baby. I'm excited. And again, if you have been watching baseball in the last 2 years, one thing is very clear. The teams that end up having the best regular season record end up getting punished because it seems like every wild card team or team that continuously plays through the wild card round ends up beating the teams that end up having the quote-unquote bye week. And again, it happened, 2 years ago where we saw the Philadelphia Phillies. Obviously, we saw it last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it's kind of looking, obviously, as we've already seen the Mets beat the Phillies, there's a very, very high probability that the San Diego Padres win tonight. And not only if they win tonight, they might go all the way. And I was talking with Double E before this series even started. And again, it feels like in the NFL and in some of the other sports, you can have a bye week, let your guys rest up, game plan, for what you want to do against that opponent. And then you typically can end up getting the dub. But in baseball, it's the complete opposite. Once you stop playing, even if you're the hottest team in baseball up to that point in the regular season, but let's say you have a week off because you're waiting for the wild card to get done to see who you're going to play. Yeah, some guys might get rested up, but as far as being, with Uncle Mo and that momentum, it kills all the momentum that team built up to get that, number one, seed or number 2 seed. So we've already seen the Phillies go down to the Mets, which was super surprising, but it shouldn't really be if you're starting to look at the stats in the last 3 years. Not very many teams, and maybe the only team that might be able to advance might end up being the Yankees against the Orioles. We feel like the Tigers obviously are going to beat the Guardians. We've already had the Mets beat the Phillies. So it shows you don't even have to be the best team in the regular season. You just have to be hot. You have to be healthy, and you have to keep playing. You get into the wild card game, you keep playing. But if you end up getting first or second place, it's almost the end of you. And again, until we start seeing teams that ended up having that first round bye win it all, then this is what we're going to get. So I feel either they're going to have to change the format so it ends up not being such a disadvantage for the teams that have that 1 week bye. But we haven't seen anybody really capitalize having that week off. If anything, it's hurting them. And if you end up being a wild card team and you play, it seems like it's a huge advantage, not only in 2024, but also in 2023 and in 2022 when they started the extra playoff team. We want to shoot for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. And like I mentioned multiple times in the stream, make sure you guys are taking care of your mental health. Addiction, depression, anxiety. Not only have I gone through these battles, but I know some of y'all are going through it now or have recently. So if you feel like you're slipping into the darkness a little bit, make some minor adjustments to your daily routine. Exercise if you're not exercising, all right? Make sure you're eating a little bit healthier. Listen to music, spend time with friends. Play, obviously, as much music as you can and spend as much time in a positive place like here on the NWSF, and it'll help you get back on track and win the day. Let's go, baby. NLDS, game number 4. Padres up 2-1 in the series. If they win tonight, they advance, and they end up playing the Mets. And obviously, the Padres should be heavily favored in that particular situation. All right, baby. Let's go. I'm ready. NC Jolly in the building. What's good? Sarah in the building. What's good? Elliot in the building. What's good? Let's go, baby. And I mean, who would have thought that the Mets would be able to get hot and Pete Alonso would get hot at the right time? But that's where we're at. Thank you for liking and sharing the post. Obviously, you probably didn't see it. I ended up posting it like at 3 in the morning because I couldn't sleep and whatnot. So again, thank you so much for that for you and Matt. Double E in the building. We've had conversations during this series and obviously previously. And we'll see what happens. But I expect that even though my dad is a big Dodger fan, clearly the best teams, are playing here tonight. And, whoever wins this particular series may go all the way. And I really feel that the Padres right now are the best team in baseball. And again, we'll see what happens here as Cease fires off a 100-mile-an-hour fastball right out of the gates to Shohei Ohtani. But we'll see what happens. But I definitely think the Padres are going to win here tonight. Now, is it possible that the Dodgers win and extend it to get it to, best of 5, tied up 2-2? Absolutely. I think these are the 2 best teams in baseball. But again, having that week off definitely is not helping the teams. It's hurting them. Big swing and a miss from Shohei Ohtani from Cease. Let's go. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So we'll see where it goes. But they got Dylan Cease on the mound, and we'll see what he can do if he can bring that no-hitter magic here tonight. And Shohei Ohtani has to be a factor, especially if you're not going to have Freddie Freeman in the lineup. You got other guys that might be able to step up, like Kike Hernandez and other guys lower in the lineup, but this is big. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is high and inside, 99 miles an hour from Cease to Ohtani. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But Shohei is going to have to do some magic if this team is going to be able to keep going. As well as Kike Hernandez and a few others. Back. Chopper towards first. Easy play. 1 away. Nice job. Daniel in the building. What's good? Yeah, Ohtani with 6 Ks, Tatis with 0, and Tatis is the equivalent to Shohei on the Padres, but has been literally the hottest player in baseball in the playoffs so far. And again, we know pitching and defense, those are the 2 main categories. You win pitching and you win defense, you're going to win it all. Not only in this particular series, but again, if the Padres win today, I got them beating the Mets. And then again, Royals and Yankees are kind of split even, 50-50, where either team could come out of that particular series. But again, it all depends with the Tigers. If Skubal pitches, let's say 3 times in a 7-game series, it is possible that the Tigers could beat, the Yankees or the Royals. It is possible. So we'll see first if the Yankees can advance, because they would be the only team that ended up having that first-round bye to do so. And if they don't, and we get Royals and Tigers, who really knows? Royals, Tigers, Mets, Padres, or Royals, Tigers, Mets, Dodgers. It seems like we're going to get maybe 1 team that was expected and then 3 others that were like, wow. But it shows you in baseball, things are completely different than the NFL. You got to be able to stay hot, you got to stay healthy, and you got to keep playing. And, again, my dad's a Dodger fan. I got a lot of friends that are Dodger fans, but just watching baseball, I think to me, the Padres are the most deserving team this season, with a lot of the statistics that they pulled off this year, triple plays and doing records that were broken, that never were broken in a long, long period of time, 50 to 100 years. And it all depends if you can get hot and healthy at the right time. But there's a very strong possibility if the Padres get past the Dodgers either today or in Game 5, that they might be able to go all the way, because I know they're better than the Mets. And then, if it ends up being the Padres versus Yankees, I'm not scared of the Yankees if I'm a Padre fan, as well as Royals or Tigers. Back, all the way, gone! Great start for Mookie Betts. We already know Mookie has been on a slump, right? And he ended up hitting a home run yesterday to get them in the mix, and Mookie does it again. And for a guy, was 0 for a billion, to be able to finally step up in back-to-back games to see if he can get the Dodgers to advance, nice job, Mookie. Not good for Double E and the Padre fans, but this is going to be a slugfest. Next up, left fielder Teoscar Hernandez, the former Blue Jay and Mariner, hit a grand salami last night. Anything is possible in this matchup. And let's be real, anyone that's a diehard baseball fan that's been watching all of these series, like myself, this is the most entertaining series. Not only this year, you could even say going back to last year, out of any of the matchups that we saw, including the World Series. These 2 teams are the only 2 teams that can get to 10 runs on any given day. And tell me I'm wrong, because the Yankees are good, right? The Tigers got Skubal. The Royals got Bobby Witt Jr. The Mets just got hot, obviously, with Pete Alonso. But there are no other teams in baseball that on any given day, right, that can score 10. And again, these 2 teams are playing each other, and that's why I'm here tonight. 1-1 pitch to Teoscar. Good eye. 1 ball and 1 strike. Going to 2 balls and 1 strike. Nice job, Teo. What's good, baby? Yes, just like Ohtani. They both have the aura through the roof. Big swing and a miss on Teoscar. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And I can't be biased. I have to be able to call it how I see it. Just because the Dodgers are a team that I follow very closely. I have a lot of friends that follow the Dodgers. My dad's been a Dodger fan since the 50s. Nice hit by Teoscar Hernandez into left field. But even with all that being said, I want my dad to be happy. I want my friends to be happy. But if you're really looking at the team top to bottom, and as well the pitching staff and the defense, who has been playing the best baseball, going into the playoffs and obviously in the wild card and right now. And I think right now, obviously the Padres and the Mets are the hottest. right? And then obviously Yankees and Royals can beat each other up. Tigers are a surprise against the Guardians. But again, when you got the best pitcher in baseball, Tarik Skubal, anything can happen. And again, their players are hungry and have been playing well. Popped up. 2 away. I mean, even Spencer Torkelson has been called up when he was in AAA, and he was terrible, right? And he's actually been able to do some things for the Tigers as well. So that's why I love playoff baseball, but I don't like seeing teams, win 90, 95, 100-plus games. And even though we didn't really have a lot of high totals and wins this year, Dodgers had the most, right? Just under 100. But it's just crazy to think that, you could be in first and second place, have a bye, and just get absolutely rocked. Wow. Throw it far, hit it far, Jurickson and Profar. Okay. Let's take a look at this again. His hat falls off. Nice catch. Nice catch. Let's go. Yeah, and again, injuries and pitching is usually what the Dodgers' bugaboo is. And what did I say before the playoffs started? If the Dodgers or the Phillies match up to the Padres, it's over. Like I said, based on how they've been playing, they've done more historic things this season than any team in baseball. Now, yes, Shohei Ohtani, joining the 50-50 club is awesome. But if you go back, and again, not a lot of people, recognize, these big records that have been broken and these big monuments in the stat line, unless you actually have been watching the Padres play this year or following social media. And again, we'll see where it goes. But again, even though my dad is a Dodger fan, if I had to choose one team to go all the way for their legacy, I'm rocking with San Diego. I think that they are the most deserving. I feel that they've made the biggest plays throughout the year. I feel that they're the hottest, obviously besides the Mets, but I feel that they can, match the hotness that Pete Alonso and company have been bringing. They only got a couple guys that have been hot. Everyone has been hot in the order, for the Padres, even guys at the bottom of the lineup. When you're starting to get big plays out of guys like Cronzone and Higgy at the bottom of the lineup, that's when the lineup is extremely special. And again, Fernando Tatis Jr. right now, he's playing like Shohei Ohtani. And it's a pretty amazing thing to see. And I did send Elliot and a few others this cool stat line. Fernando Tatis Jr., let's bring him up here on the screen. Of the Padres, he's hit 4 home runs in 5 games this postseason. He has not struck out once. Shohei 6 times. The only other player in MLB history to have 4+ home runs and no strikeouts in a 5-game span in the postseason was fucking Lou Gehrig, the Hall of Famer from 1928 to 1932. That is incredible. And again, if you can end up matching, Shohei's aura and vibe, anything is possible for the San Diego Padres. But you got to get past the Dodgers first, get past the Mets, and then if it ends up being Padres-Yankees, give me Padres, Padres-Royals, give me Padres, Padres-Tigers, give me Padres. And again, for the Tigers to be able to beat the Yankees or the Orioles if they beat the Guardians tomorrow, Scooball's going to have to pitch 3 times. He's going to have to pitch like game 1, game 4, and game 7 or something of that nature. And then maybe, the Tigers would be able to do some magic, but I'm not sure if Scooball's arm will be able to handle 3 starts, but they're going to have to, because that's the only way the Tigers are going to make it to the World Series and get past the Guardians and then the Royals or Yankees. But it is possible. He is the best pitcher in baseball. And remember, when you end up watching playoff baseball, it's not about who's hot, who has 110 wins. It's all about having that Uncle Mo, that momentum, and obviously being good at pitching and defense, and all your key role players have to step up in the lineup. First pitch from Brazier to Luis Ariz. I mean, like I said, this is really the main difference to me. They didn't have Luis Ariz before. This guy has, been the hit king on 3 different teams, winning the batting title. With the Twins, right? With the Marlins, and now with the Padres, you literally have an Ichiro Suzuki on top of a Hall of Famer, Fernando Tatis Jr., an all-star this year. Great story, best story in baseball this year with Jurickson and Profar going to the Rockies and coming back and becoming an all-star. One of the best third basemen in baseball, Manny Machado. And let's not forget the Rook, Jackson Merrill. Xander Bogaerts has been to some all-star games. David Peralta, Cronzone, and obviously Higgy is probably the biggest X factor that's not a famous name. Out of everyone in the lineup, including Jackson Merrill, I think Higgy kind of gives you that juice in that 9 hole from the catching spot. Tap it to first, one away. Down goes Arise, but don't expect him to be shut out in this particular matchup. Next up, right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's get to 100 in donos, and let's try to get 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall. Let's go. Yes. That's low for him, as far as, being a guy that, having the batting title and a guy that can bat 300, 350, 400. But also, the Dodgers have good players and vice versa. You look up and down the lineup. In the starting lineup, everyone has, at least 10 home runs or more, except for one guy in the starting lineup for both. Think about how amazing that is, that even your low guys, are over 10. It's a big deal, especially when we get into the playoffs here. Bottom of the first, 1-0 Dodgers. Mookie Betts with a solo shot in the top of the first, just like yesterday. 0-2 count to the hottest player in baseball, Fernando Tatis Jr. Big swing and a miss, and there's the first strikeout for Tatis in the playoffs. That's all right. 2 away. Next up, Elliot's favorite player, except for you, Darvish. Throw it far, hit it far, Jurickson Profar. Best story in sports, best story in baseball this year. Hands down, not even close. .222, 0 home runs, run ribby, 3 for 11 with an RBI and 3 base on balls. Jurickson Profar got good eyes. And you got to think, for a player that was on the team that, didn't really give, all the fans for San Diego maybe what they wanted, and then, getting traded away and then coming back, and then not only improving your batting average and your home runs and your ribbies, but the overall confidence, swagger, and vibe, and then turning yourself into an all-star after being traded away. And I think that if you really look at this lineup and the main difference from last year and the year before, it's these two guys, Jurickson Profar and Luis Arise. Obviously, we know Profar ended up being on the Rockies and came back. Arise was on the Twins and then the Marlins, and now is in San Diego. And you pair those two guys up right here with Tatis, Machado, and company, you got something cooking. Profar popped up, and looks like it's going to be a very easy inning for the Dodgers here. Brazier, easy 1-2-3 inning. End of the first. Let's go to the top of the second, 1-0 LA. All right, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We need 3 more to get to 10, 2 more to get to 10, 1 more to get to 10. We're at 9. Let's get to 10 within the first 30 minutes. We need 1 more, and then we'll end up getting to 20 within the first hour. Let's go, baby. My bad here. I keep throwing up the Kike Hernandez because I got one of my photos that disappeared, so I have to reload it here. Give me one sec. All right, there we go. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, we're at 10. There we go. Let's get to 20. You asking Elliot or are you asking myself? I assume you're asking Elliot. Elliot, who do you like besides Profar and Darvish? Are those are your two favorite? Obviously, Tatis, and it's hard not to like Tatis and Machado. I mean, those are Hall of Fame players right there. But do you got another player like a role player like Crone Zone that you really like? Because obviously, it's not about just being the best. Sometimes you'll end up liking some of the guys that are in the middle of the lineup. Good role players, and I feel that's kind of how Elliott operates. Leading off here at shortstop in the 6 hole for the Dodgers, Tommy Edman. Batting second baseman in the 7 hole, Gavin Lux. And batting third baseman, Kike Hernandez. Cease, first pitch, fouled off, 0-1 count. Yeah, and no Cam in the lineup with the injury and whatnot. That stinks, man. He could have been a real big factor for you guys in the playoffs. But so far, Dylan, gave up that one solo shot to Mookie, but he's been pretty clean since. Pitches inside. 1 ball and 1 strike for Tommy Edman. Little chopper towards first base. Routine play for Luis Ariz. 1 away. Grounded out to first. Next up for the Dodgers, second baseman Gavin Lux. What was Kim's injury? Pitches low and into the dirt to Gavin Lux. 1-0 count. Go Cease. Go Dodgers. And regardless whoever you're rooting for in this particular series, I mean, it's definitely been by far the most exciting. Obviously the Mets beating up on the Phillies was a little shocking. I'm not really sure how many people really enjoyed that unless you were a Mets fan. Obviously, if you're a Phillies fan, you're in hell because it seems like the Phillies, they choke in everything that they do. Everything in Philadelphia, whether it's the Sixers or the Eagles, or the Phillies, it's just unfortunate for that particular city. Because it seems like they always end up having like good teams or playoff teams, but once it's gets to the point of actually getting the job done, they never do. They always fall short. Some teams can make it to like the Super Bowl, or you might be able to get to a World Series, but not good enough to like win it all. And at some point or another, things need to change in Philadelphia. Because they already get kind of a bad rap based off their fans. Some are very passionate. Some are a little toxic, right? But, that's very tough, especially being one of the best teams in baseball all year and you're going to lose to fucking the Mets? Really? All right, I guess. Pete Alonso got hot at the right time, and that is a walk. Lux to first. Next up is third baseman Kike Hernandez. And Kike wasn't in the lineup yesterday, and he is here today. Spent some time with Paisley, yesterday. I could tell, she, and anytime I feel that she needs a little bit more extra time, I want to make sure I'm grinding as much as possible, but I also have to make sure I'm taking care, of my mental health too. So that way I don't burn out, because especially we get into modes where we end up doing weeks or months at a time without a day off. We do got a good one tomorrow with the Niners and the Hawks. Should be good for Thursday night. And then depending if the Dodgers win this, if they win today, then I will be doing game number 5 on Friday, Dodgers and Padres. So, and then obviously Saturday, Ohio State versus Oregon, number 2 versus number 3 in Autzen. Going to be fucking electric. Lots of good games, obviously on Saturday. And then we'll get into the Sunday matchups, obviously on the NFL and Monday Night Football. So I'm very excited here for the next 3, 4, 5 days on the channel. Top of the second, 1-0 Dodgers. Runner at first, Lux. 1-0 pitch to Kike Hernandez from Cease. Tries to jam Kike. And there's a foul ball, almost around the same location where I got my foul ball when Kike came to Seattle right before COVID. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Trying to shoot for 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and 100 in the donos on every single stream. Pitches outside from Cease to Kike, 2 balls and 1 strike. Kike fouls that one behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And I was always a super fan of baseball, and I got extremely lucky getting a couple, foul balls of the Portland Beavers, which is a AAA affiliate of the Twins back in the 80s and 90s. They no longer exist here in Oregon. But when I ended up getting my first foul ball at a game for the Mariners, about 4 or 5 years ago, it changed everything. Getting that foul ball and seeing it come towards me in the early of the first part of the bottom of the first inning, it was wild, man. Everything kind of slowed down, and I was extremely lucky because the next year after that, I ended up getting an Aaron Judge as well as a Julio Rodriguez rookie ball. So I feel that once you end up getting that taste of getting a home run ball or a foul ball, it never goes away. Kike, there we go. And I always root for guys like Kike Hernandez because he's never going to be the best player on the team. He's always going to be a role player, kind of like Kim, obviously for the Padres. But more times than not, if you give Kike a chance, he's a utility player. He can play multiple positions. He can probably play more positions than anybody on the Dodgers at a high level. He's not going to amaze you with his batting average. It's usually going to be closer to 200 rather than 3. But just like this, you give him a chance, he will do some damage from time to time. And I always root for Kike Hernandez. Nice job, Kike. There you go. Way to be. Especially for a player that doesn't really play every day. Gives you that extra oomph in the lineup and that Uncle Mo and that momentum. Next up, center fielder Chris Taylor going down for a bunt, almost gets hit in the face. Wow. Got to be careful there. Almost got a nose broken. I mean, everyone can love, Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez, but sometimes it's those role players that are exciting too, especially when you don't really expect a whole lot, and then they end up coming up with a big play like Kike did there. We got runners on the corners with 1 out. Dodgers are threatening again. And again, if the Dodgers win here today, they will play on Friday, and I will be doing a live stream for that matchup. But again, the Padres, it's still early. They could end up winning the series right here, but so far, the Dodgers are putting the pressure on Cease early and often. And remember, no Freddie Freeman in the lineup. So they're definitely at a disadvantage. But if the Dodgers win, though, Freddie will play on Friday, more than likely, they said. So 202 average, 4 homers, and 23 ribbies for Chris Taylor. Another guy that's not normal, a normal routine everyday player. Yeah, but if you get good numbers out of your 8-hole and your 9-hole, just like on the Padres, right? Anything is happening. Anything is possible with Cronzone and Higgy on the Padres, and you end up filling in guys like Hernandez and Taylor. Most fans that are watching thinking, these guys aren't going to do anything. But sometimes they end up being the unsung hero of that matchup. Top of the second, 1-0 Dodgers. Runners on the corners on first and third. 2-2 pitch from Cease to Taylor. Got him. Nice job, Dylan. Nice punch out for Dylan Cease, who had a no-hitter earlier in the year, as in this photo right here. Next up for the Dodgers, DHing Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani, there it is. RBI, baby. There it is. He's too good, man. 2-0 Dodgers. Wow. Just like that, you got to be very, very careful where you pitch to Shohei Ohtani, because you might get a bunch of strikeouts on him early, but eventually he'll find the rhythm that he needs, and that's why he's the best player on planet Earth not only this year, he might be the best player that has ever played baseball ever. We're talking about Babe Ruth, modern day. But again, Babe Ruth isn't as good of a pitcher as Shohei Ohtani is currently right now, even though he's not able to pitch until next season. Big. Top of the second, 2-0 Dodgers. And Cease is done? Wow. Unbelievable. They're just giving Cease the boot? Uh-oh. And I know, they're going to go through the different lineups and whatnot, but I'm not sure if I agree with that, but they definitely feel that he has lost everything that he had up to that point. But that's a very early curtain call for him to go to the dugout. And obviously, you got runners at first and second, one more good swing, and it could end up being 5-0. Momentum is obviously shifted to look like it's going to go to Game 5. But again, it's early. The Padres are going to have their run. And they're going to need their fans to get loud and step up. But again, it's not over yet. But obviously, all the momentum with the Dodgers right now, and Cease going out. I don't know if I like that, but I figured even with low rest that he would pitch a little bit longer. I figured not 6 or 7 innings. It wouldn't be that long. But like you, I thought 3 or 4 innings. But I didn't think they would pull him in the second. But I guess if you're down 2-0, you got guys on first and second. Mookie is back up. He hit a home run off you already earlier. He gets one good baseball right down the middle, 5-0. Then the game's probably over. Even as good as the Padres are, getting down by 5, that's a lot. And if any team could come back from 5 or 10 down, it is the Dodgers and the Padres. But based on today, it might be over, at that point where, the Padres will still get a run here and there. But again, if you end up having a 5-0 lead in the second, it might be too much to overcome at that point. But we will see. Crazy, bro. I did not assume that he would be this early. But again, the Dodgers bats, no Freddie Freeman, no problem. Right. And again, if you feel like the bullpen is relatively fresh and you got better pitchers, get his ass out of there. You guys are trying to win today because if it does go to Game 5, there is a chance that you could lose. And again, you got to be able to, put your foot on the gas and end it. You can't let them hang around. You let a team like this hang around, they might go all the way. And again, these to me are the 2 best teams right now, top to bottom. Not only in the National League, but just overall on the teams that are left. Wow. Next up, right fielder, Mookie Betts. Bringing that electricity. Okay, Shohei, I see you. Giancarlo did. Good for him, man. Again, he's been injury riddled and he's slow as hell around the bases. There it is. Mookie. Kike Hernandez coming home. Say 3-0 Dodgers. Didn't even matter if you put in a new pitcher or not. And again, guys like Kike Hernandez make this team operate and run. And again, just like Higgy for the Padres, anytime it ends up being a guy that you take for granted, thinking that they're not going to do anything, that's when they do something. Wow. Right in the zone, and you can't do that, especially after Mookie hit a home run already. At this point, you probably should have walked him. Next up, left fielder, Teoscar Hernandez. And again, top to bottom, the roster is ridiculous for both of these teams. I haven't seen 2 teams equally matched like this in a long, long time. It's almost a damn shame that we couldn't get these 2 teams playing against each other in the World Series. But obviously, being in the National League, it's impossible. But it would be really cool to be able to see these 2 teams go for a championship if the Padres were in the American League and the Dodgers were in the National. Little slow dribbler, right back to the pitcher. But the damage is done. They get 3-0 Dodgers. All right, Padres, your turn. Let's go. Not over yet. And again, these teams are battle tested too. When they do get down like this, they don't cry, they don't mope, they don't bitch, they don't complain. They just put their head down and grind. So again, 3-0 is not ideal when you're trying to close out the Dodgers, but it's not, impossible to come back from. Next up for the Padres, third baseman Manny Machado, and he needs to get going. Like, if he can get a home run, in his first, 2 or 3 at-bats, or even just getting on base here to see if they can respond, obviously to the damage that was done by the Dodgers would be huge. Batting second in the 5-hole, center fielder Jackson Merrill, the rookie. I like him. And shortstop Xander Bogaerts in the 6-hole, batting third. Let's go, baby. Exactly. You want to bounce back as soon as possible, and if you can do it in the same inning, that's the best case scenario. Keeping the vibes high, for not only the fans, but for the players that are, in the game at the moment. I agree. Plus, I don't want to see a blowout. I want to be able to see a game go back and forth. Like, it would be amazing if the Padres ended up getting 3 in this inning and we have a 3-3 game. That's the type of game I want to see. I want to see a haymaker, an uppercut, and then I want to see a haymaker and an uppercut back. I don't want to just see a 10-1 game or a blowout. Let's go back and forth and see, who the real deal Holyfield is here. Yes, he is. But you got to remember, prior to these last 2 games, he wasn't good. He was like 0 for 20. So to be like 0 for 20 and then to finally end up hitting a home run yesterday and then one today and then getting another RBI, obviously he knows he needs to step up for Freddie Freeman not playing. And, usually the best players on the planet, feel the pressure, and eventually the slump ends. And then, if they end up getting a pitch that they like, they're going to end up responding. So can't hold a guy like Mookie down forever. All right, we need 9 more likes to get to 20. If you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Thank you so much. 8 more to get to 20. And then once we get to 20, it'll be smooth sailing from there. Pitches outside from Brazier to Machado. 1-0 count. And he needs to step up here. Their superstars have to match the superstars of the Dodgers here today. Pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Manny Machado. First ballot Hall of Famer, arguably the best third baseman in baseball right now. And if he's not the best, he's top 2. And some people in San Diego think he's not number 2. 2 balls and 1 strike from Brazier to Machado. Got to get that postseason batting average up closer to 300. 238 for Manny. Big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, feeding off that momentum off the birthday, obviously, huh? Zay in the building. What's good, brother? Try to jam Machado. Brazier chops that one behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. What's good, Zay? How are you? Fouled that one off. He's battling in there. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Manny. Bottom of the second, 3-0 Dodgers. Pitch inside. Tried to jam Machado. Machado wasn't having it. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the bottom of the second, 3-0 Dodgers. And it all got started by Mookie Betts. Right? Solo dinger into center, 4-0-3, 1-0 Dodgers. Then Ohtani singled to right. Lux scored, 2-0 Dodgers. And then Betts singled to right. And then Kike Hernandez scored, 3-0 Dodgers. Manny, slow dribbler. Tommy Edman is there. Got him. 1 away. Next up, center fielder Jackson Merrill. All right, so Brazier is out. And they're just going to be going through pitchers very frequently, it looks like. I mean, if everyone is healthy and ready to go, you want to bring out your best guys and give them a chance. But it seems like we're going to get a lot of pitching today. Yeah, you know the thing, and I just talked about this at the beginning of the broadcast, since they made the new, rule changes, where they added an extra team with the playoffs a couple years ago, if you end up winning, the most games, or you end up having a bye, just like the Dodgers and the Phillies did, or, like the Guardians and the Royals, you're at a huge disadvantage because once you end up being hot during the regular season and you have like a week off, you get cold. And again, in the NFL, they can get away with it because you can end up resting up your guys' game plan and you can have a week off, go into the playoffs and kick ass. But in baseball, it's the opposite. As soon as you stop playing, then you're at a disadvantage. And it seems like, some guys might end up to be getting a little bit healthier. But as far as that momentum that you built up, in the regular season to get to the playoffs, that's why teams that end up being in the wild card end up advancing. And we usually don't have any teams that have, ended up being first or second seed that have advanced in the last 3 years. So, this is something that we'll see if the Yankees do it, but it looks like the Tigers more than likely with Skubal are going to advance. We'll see if the Royals end up beating the Yankees, but the Mets ended up beating the brakes off the Phillies. I don't know if anyone have anticipated that. And it's not like we think the Mets are a better team, but again, they just kept playing ball while Philadelphia rested. And for whatever reason, Pete Alonso, turned into a fucking superstar at the right time and was, hitting homers left and right. And that was the end of Philadelphia. So, in this particular series, you got the two best teams in baseball. Whoever wins this might end up winning it all, but it might end up going to Game 5, obviously, on Friday if the Padres can't come back. And with the Guardians, again, with that time off, it hurts you. Skubal is the best pitcher, but not only that, they were very, very hot going in, and you could see like the Mets were hot. Obviously, the Tigers were hot, as well as the Padres. And again, if you get hot and healthy and you got good pitching and defense and your role players step up, anything is possible. And again, it's like, I don't know if they have to maybe change the rule, but it just seems like every team that ends up getting a 1 or 2 seed and has that first week off while the wild card teams battle, you're at a huge disadvantage. Until we end up seeing a 1 or a 2 win it all, it's going to be like, who cares if you end up winning 100 games? All you got to do is just crawl into the playoffs as a wild card team, and you might go all the way because that's where the formula, it seems like, where it's at right now. So, why try to win 100 to 115 games when you can win 85 to 90, get in barely, and then just rake and then see what happens. And we'll see what happens this year if we end up getting a champion from the wild card or if it ends up a team that ended up having that first round bye. But first round byes have not been kind, right? The Phillies ended up getting there over the Dodgers and Braves 2 years ago. The Diamondbacks ended up getting there over the Phillies and the Dodgers and the Braves last year. And then look at this. This year, who knows? There we go. Merrill goes down, 1 away. Bottom of the second with 2 outs, 3-0 Dodgers. Next up for the San Diego Padres, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. And they got Banda in, so they're going to be doing a lot of changes with the pitching staff, both sides. Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball, but it's not like he's pitching every game. But also, too, if you look at Parker Meadows and a lot of the no-name players on the Tigers, they got extremely hot, at the end of the season, and they carried that momentum. And again, when you got the best pitcher in baseball, it gives you a swagger and an aura where maybe other people don't believe in you. But if you got the best pitcher in baseball and he's raking, anything is possible if you can feed off that, that swag and that aura and that energy that Skubal gives off. Pitch inside to Bogaerts. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, that was brutal. I watched that yesterday, and it was on at 1:30, so it was too early for me to stream. And then the Kraken ended up scoring the first 2 goals, right? And it was 2-0, and I was feeling good. I was like, hell yeah. And then the Blues scored 3 goals in like 5 minutes, and then we didn't score any more after that, and then you guys won. So, and we were at home on top of that, which was brutal. So not the way that we wanted to open the season. Obviously, they ended up giving an extension to Joey Decord, and maybe Joey should be the starter over Grubauer. I think Decord is better, but again, I know Gru we'll end up having some, good matchups. But to me, Joey Decord is the better goalie, and maybe they should have went that direction. And if they would have, maybe we would have won. But again, they're going to have to go back and forth with those two goalies. But if I had my preference, give me Joey Decord, Grubauer any day. Not that I think that Grubauer stinks, but he's just not as good or as consistent as Decord, in my opinion. Bottom of the second, 3-0 Dodgers, 3-2 pitch. And Banda walks Bogarts. There you go. Yeah, and don't be sorry. Everyone's battling. Hell, even the Utah Hockey team ended up getting off to a nice start with their new, obviously, organization until they figure out their new name. I ended up watching quite a bit of hockey yesterday, to be honest. Next up for the Padres, David Peralta. 267 average, 8 homers, 28 ribbies for David. Well, this is the best team that you've had in years, top to bottom. Profar is an all-star. It's like a dream come true for you. Young Kip got hurt, which stinks, right? And Darvish was hurt for a chunk too. But getting Luis Arise, this team feels like they could win it all. But you have to get past the team that most people think that is going to win it all. But if you can climb the mountain and find a way to beat the Dodgers, you can go all the way. Again, I don't think I've seen, as far as like superstar players, the Yankees got Giancarlo, and they got Judge, and they got obviously Juan Soto, but if you're looking at top to bottom, Padres and Dodgers have more. And I love Bobby Witt Jr., I love Scooball, but it just seems like, and Pete Alonso has been getting hot as of late, but it just seems like all the other teams, they have a couple guys, or a couple pitchers, but they don't really have everything that these two teams have. But it kind of feels like, even if you, for whatever reason, if you guys don't win the series or you don't win the World Series this year, it definitely feels like the Padres are close, and I'm not counting them out yet. 3-0 is 3-0. They can come back, but get past the Dodgers first, and then you might be able to go all the way. And think about how big that would be for the Padre fans and what other free agents would want to join the Padres to ultimately beat up on the Dodgers every year. They'd probably be able to get a few more people wanting to come through. There we go, Padres. Who would have thought? David Peralta, right? You never know who's going to be that unsung hero to get it started. You got Arise, batting title winner. You got Tatis, the hottest hitter. Profar, the all-star. Machado, the Hall of Famer. Merrill, the rookie. Bogarts, a former all-star. And then it comes to David Peralta in the 7-hole. And again, sometimes you just have to be patient. And speaking of patience, second baseman, it's the Crone Zone, Jake Cronenworth. And then we got one of the dangerous hitters, the former Yankee, Kyle Higgy-Shioka. Higgy's been huge. Big X factor for this team. Let's go, baby. There you go. You got to get the crowd into it, You can't be all fucking woe is me. You guys already know what you signed up for, going against a team like this. This is not going to be easy. And remember, the Dodgers would normally blow teams out. So, to put the pressure on them and to be up 2-1 is huge. It's not like the Mets would be able to be up more than likely unless Pete Alonso turned into Babe Ruth for like a week, which essentially he did against the Phillies. All right. But other than that, I don't think anyone thinks the Mets have a chance against either one of these teams. They might be able to win a game or two, but pitches outside with that slider from Banda to Crone Zone. 1-0 count. Bottom of the second, 3-0 Dodgers, runners at first and second. A good opportunity here with 2 outs to see if they can end up getting a nice RBI or moving the runner over. Crone Zone ends up getting on with like with a walk or a little base knock. Higgy comes up with a grand salami or a big RBI. Anything is possible in the playoffs, especially when you're rotating pitchers every inning. popped up, and that's going to be the end of the second inning. You leave 2 stranded, but a good start that at least you're getting hits instead of just not getting anything, in the first 2 innings. Not exactly what you wanted, but again, it's a good start, and hopefully you'll be able to get a run knocked in, in the 3rd inning. All right, baby, we're at 12. 8 more to go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. 8 more to get to 20, baby. Let's get there. Now, obviously, we'll be shooting for 100 in the donos on every single stream. Let's see who's up next here for Los Angeles. Next up for the Dodgers, first baseman today, filling in for Freddie Freeman, Mad Max Muncy. Batting second in the 5-hole, catcher Will Smith. And batting third, shortstop in the 6-hole, Tommy Edman. Let's go. Yankees 3, Royals 2. Series tied up 1-1. And if the Royals want to end up winning the series, they have to win today. They have to find a way to win today. And if they can win today and put the pressure on, then, because if the Yankees end up winning, they're probably going to feed off that momentum and win the series. But we'll see. Especially they got 2 guys on first and third with 2 outs. I mean, you got to capitalize in this inning. If you don't capitalize here, the Yankees are going to win. That's really been the Giancarlo Stanton day. Doubled the center to get him a 1-0 lead, and then homered the left center to give him a 3-2 lead. Not a whole lot from Aaron Judge here today. 0 for 4 day for Judge. Who would have thought? And they get out of the inning. They're going to the top of the 9th. Gurriel flied out. They're done. Yankees are going to end up winning this game, and then we'll see if they end up winning the series. All right, we're in the top of the 3rd. First pitch to Mad Max Muncy is low at the knees and into the dirt. 1-0 count. 0 for 1 with a fly out in the first. This series, he's 2 for 13 with 1 homer and 1 RBI. And he's one of those guys that once we get Will Smith up on deck here, with Mad Max, he's going to strike out a lot, right? He's going to strike out a lot, but when he connects, I mean, it's out of the stadium. He can end up giving you that big, big lift. It's just that you're going to have to deal with numbers that kind of like a DH, where it's either going to be a home run or a strikeout, not a whole lot in between. 1-1 pitch. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Let him know. 2-1 pitch at the knees. 3-1 count. And if Max is smart, instead of just trying to play hero ball and just gets on base with a walk, that's probably going to end up doing more damage against the Padres than him just trying to swing for the moon. 3-1 pitch. And, right down the right field line, Mad Max Muncy going for 2. Tatis fumbles the bag, and Muncy could have went to third, but puts on the brakes and stays at second. Come on, Tatis. Got to focus. Got to focus out there. Padre fans are getting a little anxious right now. You can hear some of the boo birds coming out. They feel the pressure. They're down 3-0. Tatis with that little error. Come on now. Next up, catcher Will Smith. And Dodgers with Dave Roberts got a good record in elimination games, 11-7 record. And if things don't turn around in the next 3 innings, they might end up being 12-7. Pitches inside for Will Smith. 0-1 count. Yeah, I saw because he ended up writing some articles, starting to talk shit about some of the Padre players. So good for them. If you're gonna talk shit about the Padre players, then fuck you. You don't get access. It's like we have plenty of guys in baseball, basketball, and football that are the insiders. That end up reporting the news. Whether it be Schefter or Shams or whoever, Rosenthal. Depending on what sport we're talking about, but. What do you think? That those players aren't going to know that you started to talk shit, about them in a podcast or in an article? Of course they're going to know. Popped up, back, gone! Will Smith, and he ain't slapping nobody today. Oh my, 5-0 Dodgers. This one might be over, Elliot. Uh-oh. Next up is shortstop Tommy Edman. And all of the momentum in the Dodgers' favor here today. No Freddie Freeman, no fucking problem. Wow. Well, it looks like I'm doing a stream on Friday. So we'll be doing this, obviously, tonight. We got Seahawks and Niners tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. NFC West clash. And then we're going to get, more than likely, elimination game number 5. When it ends up more than likely being tied up 2-2 unless we get a crazy comeback by the Padres, and I will be live streaming that one on Friday. Yeah, it could be worse. You could be Bob Costas doing the Yankees where he doesn't give credit to any other team that besides the Yankees. If you're talking about a biased commentary, listen to a Yankee matchup with Bob Costas on the mic. I think Bob does a great job. But obviously, he's born and bred in New York, and you could tell when he calls a game, he doesn't give anything to the other team, regardless of who it is. And sometimes it's nice to be able to hear it on both ends, but you know how that goes. Whenever you got your own team's, announcer, or you get someone that is from that particular area or a fan of that team, you can tell easily. Back. This ain't no goddamn Wild West. No slaps here today. Will Smith, that's big. Another player, might not be the best player on the team, but a guy that steps up when needed the most. And again, a lot of these home runs and these big plays are due to them switching pitchers every inning. Instead of having one guy, go for 3, 4, 5 innings and then making a change. This particular strategy on both sides of switching pitchers like every inning, it's working for the Dodgers. It's not working for the Padres. At least not today. Next up is second baseman Gavin Lux. Aaron Judge is up. Top of the 9th with 1 out with one runner on first. All right. Anytime Aaron Judge is on, I have to always have it on. Him or Bobby Witt Jr. in this particular series. Obviously, Soto is money. And Giancarlo's been hot today, but all right, I got the Yankee game up here also. What's up with Wendy's doing the whole Krabby Patty thing? Like the collab with SpongeBob and Wendy's. It's not like I'm against it. Anything to be able to bring in some business to Wendy's. Wendy's, as far as fast food, usually it has food that tastes a little bit better than like McDonald's or Burger King or some of the other locations. I mean, it all depends if you get it hot and it's not under a heat lamp, but Wendy's nuggets are better than McDonald's. even though I don't really eat fast food anymore. The burgers typically taste better, and then they obviously have better sides as options, in my opinion, over there too. It's like you get a little bit more options over there, and obviously we know the strawberry lemonade is fucking undefeated. McDonald's doesn't have anything like that. Ooh, baby, Lions, Cowboys, baby, woo, woo, woo. Buccaneers, Saints, baby, let's go. Let's go. Cool kid in the building, what's good? Pineapple frosty. It sounds good, man. Like I'm not really eating a whole lot of the fast food. Yeah, I knew the anniversary was SpongeBob, but I didn't know that like they were going to try to link up with like a fast food company. And honestly, if you think about all the fast food places, Jack in the Box, Carl's Jr., McDonald's, Burger King, or like Wendy's is the perfect one, to actually have that collab and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe I'll end up going to Wendy's in the next week or two to check it out. Even though I don't really eat that type of food anymore. Throw to first, 2 away. Yeah, Judge with a single after his big slump. I'm watching that game here as well. I got both on. I got my Aaron Judge rookie auto BGS 9 auto grade 10 sitting on the my dresser here. Next up is Kike Hernandez. I mean, I might not be a Yankee fan myself, but I appreciate greatness. And Aaron Judge, if you end up having any of his, rookie autos that are graded, they're going to be worth a lot of money, just like Ohtani's when it's all said and done. Line drive to Jurickson and Profar. Good defense, at least out there in left field. If he would have dove and missed, like Soto did earlier for the Yankees, then that might have been able to be another big play. 5 runs, 7 hits, no errors, no runs, only 1 hit for the Padres so far. They got to get it into gear, and like right now. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I wish I could end up, going back to who I was, where I was drinking, beers every day and eating fast food all the time. But again, when you end up, gaining so much weight and you just don't feel good, afterwards and whatnot, like, I feel that, every once in a while I can have like a cheat meal, like once a month, but I feel that, with all my good daily habits that I put in, I'm walking like 3, 4, 5 miles a day. I'm spending about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day walking with Paisley. I don't eat fast food. I don't drink soda. It's definitely made all the difference. And, I'm down to, I think, 185 now. So that's the lowest I've been since high school. So that's over 20 years ago. And I don't plan on, getting to the weight that I was prior to that. I want to stay like this for the rest of my life. So if that ends up meaning that I have to sacrifice a little bit in Flavor Town, then so be it. I got to look out for my health. $5-0 Dodgers. Come on, Padres. See who's up next here for San Diego. Next up for the Padres, catcher Kyle Higashioka. Batting second, 0 for 1, first baseman Luis Ariz. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. Go, baby. Miles in the building, what's good? Allie in the building, what's good? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 within the first hour, since we just broke the first hour about 8 minutes ago. And we're still waiting for our dono train to start here in this game. Yeah, another reason why, I usually, I'll do Mariners, every single game. But if I end up doing any other teams, it seems like the support isn't as high. So again, for my mental health, I have to make sure I'm selective on what I do, being my own boss, because again, no one wants to work for free, especially if you're putting in a lot of time and energy and effort, with the thumbnail and the broadcast. So But we will be doing some Kraken and some NHL streams at some point. But again, a little bit of MLB playoffs, NFL tomorrow, Ducks in Ohio State on Saturday, and then Sunday night football and Monday night football. Obviously, let's take a quick peek ahead, see what we got on tap for that. Obviously, Bucks Saints on in the morning as well on Sunday, which will be, I might end up doing a live stream for that game. Big swing and a miss to Higgy. Behind in the count 0-2. Lions Cowboys should be very good as well. We got Bengals Giants, which might be a snooze fest, but you never know. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and if Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones can get Malik Neighbors in the game and come off the concussion, that might be a little bit better. And then we got Bills Jets off the firing of their head coach. So not really the best matchups for Sunday night and Monday night. Too bad they can't move the Lions and Cowboys to Sunday night football. That would have been a better matchup. But, you know, it is what it is. Like Lions Cowboys on Monday night and Bucks Saints on Sunday night. That would have been much better, but yeah, they've been putting in a new pitcher every inning so far. Both teams have, swapped out pitchers literally every inning. So I guess that's the strategy that these teams want to go. Kopech in the game. Two-two pitch. Higgy crushes that one down the third base line, foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You might get it. You know, at least you got the right quarterback in, not Hainer. You got Spencer Rattler. So if Rattler can eat up my defense, like we saw obviously last week, then it is possible. But hopefully some of the injuries that I had on defense will be healed up and we can end up having a battle. But again, you guys need wins. We need wins too. We both lost to the Falcons. So, if we want to make this a 3-team race, again, things need to change. I think I'm in a better position than you guys, though, because since Carr is out and with the injuries that you guys have with, like, Ruiz at center, as well as some of your other key pieces. It's like we'll see if Rashid Shaheed and Olave end up being, fantasy relevant now with Spencer Rattler. I mean, it's way better than having Hainer in there. He's not very good, but Rattler could end up being something, and depending on how good he plays, maybe he'll end up being the quarterback for the rest of the season. Even if Carr comes back, we'll see how he does. But both of us need to get a little revenge on the Falcons, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it ends up being a good matchup for our teams. Yeah, Baker's a dog, man. Like, again, when he first came over in the Prove It deal, I didn't know if he was going to be able to be the guy. Again, it's like you saw him at Oklahoma, right? Pitches outside to Tatis, 0-1 count with the check swing. And then obviously we saw him on the Browns, and he led them to the playoffs. And then he went to the Panthers for a short, brief stint. Then the Rams with McVay. Whoa, almost hit him in the head. High fastball, and Tatis has to hit the deck. Ooh. But then, if you remember that one game where Baker started for the Rams against like the Raiders and threw a touchdown pass with like 8 seconds to go, that's what ended up giving, the Buccaneers a prove it 1-year deal after that play and talking to McVay. And now we end up having our quarterback, probably for the next 5 to 10 years. I was thinking, are we going to try to get like a Michael Penix Jr. or a Bo Nix? And, looking at Baker, obviously a different type of quarterback than Tom Brady, but it feels like a natural fit. And I feel that even if you didn't like Baker in college or maybe on the Browns, I feel that it's a perfect fit with the Buccaneers. And, you might not be a fan of the Buccaneers, people that are watching, but I think people respect Baker. And I think that, since he's had a baby girl, he's a little bit more humble. And he's a professional now. He's not this young college kid anymore. And he still has the swag and the aura and will talk shit, but he'll back it up. And also, he knows when to be quiet as well. So I feel that, a lot of NFL fans would love to have Baker as their quarterback. I mean, depending on who you have right now, if he was available. So I'm happy he's our guy. Tatis, back. Yes! There we go. There we go. Nice job. Tatis, baby. There you go. Next up, hit it far, throw it far, Jurickson, Profar. Here we go. After him on deck, Manny Machado. You got to get 3 consecutive hits. Tatis, Profar, Machado. Let's get this going, baby. But, also, too, I'm not like a typical Buccaneer fan or a football fan. I actually appreciate the Saints and the Falcons and the Panthers and the good players that they have, and that's probably why I'm the only, non-Saint fan that could actually go to Nolans and actually still be respected, It's cool to be able to have a rival fan base appreciate, that I understand who's good and who needs recognition, and again, a lot of fans are, haters, and they just won't give credit to the other teams in the division. But, there's a lot of players on the Saints that I would love to be on the Buccaneers, if I'm being honest. So I don't have a problem representing the NFC South to the fullest. And again, there's not a lot of people that do that, on social media. So someone's got to represent for the Bucs, Saints, Falcons, and Panthers. Why not fucking me? 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss for Profar from Kopech. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yankees won. They might be the only team that ended up having that 1 week off in the bye that actually advances. I would assume that you're going to probably get Yankees, Tigers, and then Mets, and then whoever between this matchup. Pitches inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But it's definitely feeling like it's going to be a Game 5 on Friday, but we'll see. The Padres can get just as hot as the Dodgers. Believe that. Best story in baseball this year, Jurickson, Profar. Offense, defense, going to the Rockies. Anybody that ends up going to another team, and then obviously coming back, you don't really know what you're getting, But sometimes you end up getting a little bit of that magic. I mean, look at the Chiefs and Kareem Hunt. He ended up having that incident in the hotel room where he ended up kicking that individual. He ended up being like Rookie of the Year, one of the great running backs at that time period in like 2017. But the Chiefs had to, from a PR statement, they had to let him go, even though they didn't want to. They didn't want to have, quote unquote, like a criminal, on their resume, right? But then lo and behold, a few years later, after the whole Brown stint and them having an injury to Pacheco popped up, and Teoscar is there, and the inning is over. Another tough inning for the Padres, and now you got Kareem Hunt back on the Chiefs, and they got a few guys Steele, and they got Samaje Perine, but they're not Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt is a guy that can help solidify that backfield. And even if Pacheco doesn't come back or isn't healthy, Kareem Hunt is good enough to help that team try to get to the Super Bowl or AFC Championship game again. He's solid. You can give him 15 to 25 carries, and he's going to get you 80 to 120 yards, score once, twice, 3 times. And, even though Pacheco might be a little bit more explosive than Kareem Hunt, it's the perfect scenario for that team with all things considered, where they desperately needed a running back, and lo and behold, they ended up bringing a guy back. So sometimes, people deserve a second chance. Like, he fucked up, right? Hanging around the wrong crowd and, maybe drinking too much and then ended up paying the price, because he could have ended up winning some, Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes if that didn't happen. But now, Andy Reid and company brought him back, and that might be the reason why they get to the Super Bowl again, even though Patrick Mahomes has not played good this year. So we'll see how it goes. But, sometimes teams, give a player a second chance, and sometimes you end up getting a great version of them, not a shadow of themselves, but a great version of themselves, even if it was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years prior. Facts. End of the 3rd inning, 5-0 Dodgers. Let's see who's up next here for LA. And it's not like San Diego's not getting guys on base. It's just they got to knock them in. Next up for the Dodgers, 1 for 2 with an RBI, DH, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, right fielder, Mookie Betts. And Mookie is 2 for 2 with a run and 2 RBIs. A low blast early on to give him the 1-0 lead. And batting third, 1 for 2, left fielder, Teoscar Hernandez. And hopefully we'll get some goats to come through to show some love. We're already an hour and 20 minutes in. Yankees-Mets Subway Series. Yeah. Now, if the Mets ended up having 2 or 3 other guys like Pete Alonso, I mean, besides Francisco Lindor, who's a stud, him and Bobby Witt Jr. Ended up, they would have won NL MVPs if it wasn't for Judge and Ohtani. I mean, those guys played great this year. Those are the 4 best, but they don't have enough top to bottom, I think, to be able to make that happen. But you never know. Baseball's crazy, right? You never know what could happen. I mean, we've already had many upsets already in the playoffs where people didn't think teams would win, right? Like, I don't think anyone thought that the Mets were going to even make the playoffs, let alone advance. So, but again, if you end up not having a first-round bye, you're at an advantage over the other teams that do. More John versus Taylor. Top of the 4th, 5-0 Dodgers. But lots of surprises, Tigers doing well, right? The Royals beating the Orioles so easily. The Mets winning, I'm not sure if a lot of people, even if you've watched a lot of baseball this year in 2024, I'm not sure, if a lot of people would have penciled those teams to advance. I believe Game 5 is in LA. 2 games in LA, 2 games in San Diego. The last game would be in LA. So if the Padres end up losing this, there is a strong possibility that if they don't bring it in Game 5 on the road, they could end up losing. But I would never call out San Diego and say that it's, the series is over until it actually is. They are a very battle-tested team this year. 2-0 count to Ohtani. But I think the whole, changing pitchers every inning really, and obviously starting it off with Cease was probably a mistake. You probably should have ended up having someone else that was, not on short rest. But again, regardless if you get someone that's fresh or on short rest, the Dodgers are the Dodgers and the Padres are the Padres, and they're going to fuck up anybody. Ohtani with a walk. And Yankees would be heavily favored, but again, if Skubal can pitch, multiple times, they might be able to, they might end up being able to advance. It all really depends on, Skubal's aura and vibe and how, again, because when he pitches, you lose. Like, there's not very many scenarios where he pitches and the other team gets hits off of him. It just doesn't happen. Like, maybe on Sale and Skeens this year, you might have a little bit more leeway. Even those guys were great as well. But Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball, and I haven't really seen him have any really bad games this year, and very rarely. And usually they get some pretty good run support when he's up there too, because they understand what he means to that team. Even with Soto, Giancarlo, and Judge, I think I would take Skubal. And, now if it's not Skubal pitching, you could take advantage. Shohei tagging up, safe. Those long legs of Ohtani getting in there. That's flied out to center, Ohtani to second. Ohtani is incredibly fast for his size. Next up, left fielder Teoscar Hernandez. Such a good athlete. It's like you're not going to see Aaron Judge do the things that Ohtani does on the bags. And that's kind of the difference. It's like, you're going to be able to get the home runs from both. But Ohtani can pitch. He can win 10 to 15 games. And he can hit 50 homers, 60 homers like Judge. But Judge is never going to get 50, 60 stolen bags in a year. So, if you're looking at the ultimate creative player, it's definitely Shohei Ohtani. I love me some Aaron Judge, but he's not on the same stratosphere or plane as Shohei based on ability. 311 average, 6 homers, 18 ribbies for Teoscar Hernandez. 0-2 pitch. Down third base, and it hit the ump. And Ohtani's coming home. Out. Got him. There we go. A calculated risk right there. Nice job by Manny Machado. That was huge. Huge, huge, huge. Because if they score there, I mean, you know, a lot of the Padre fans would have started to lose hope. I mean, right now they're already very uneasy, but he goes with the deflection, and the glove ends up hitting the ball and bounces and deflects off the ump there at third base, and it still was able to recover. Good play there by Manny Machado. Now we just need the Padres to get some clutch hitting here. Next up for the Padres, 0 for 1. He just made that play at third base, Manny Machado. Your time, Manny. Let's go. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, center fielder Jackson Merrill. And batting third, shortstop Xander Bogaerts. Yeah, I think that the Mariners will be playing in the postseason, you know, at one point. It's not like we're ever going to be, you know, probably winning the division, but that's probably good for us. Just get in with a wild card and we can keep playing, and maybe we can get lucky and advance. So it might take a couple years. And obviously we don't have a good owner. We don't have a good GM. You know, obviously we got a decent manager now with Dan Wilson over Scott Service, but there still needs to be, you know, things that need to happen. We need to sign better players, get better bullpen, you know, and again, it's like you can become fans of certain guys on the team, but we just have too many guys that are, you know, just not good, you know, too many guys that, you know, that are more backups than starters. And hopefully we bring up some guys in the farm. We have the best farm system in baseball. So once we start bringing up Lazaro Montes and Harry Ford and Cole Young and Colt Emerson, those four guys with Tyler Locklear and Ryan Bliss, I mean, we got some potential there. And that might mean guys like J.P. Crawford and Mitch Garver and, you know, a few of these other guys, Jorge Polanco might need to leave, you know, for us to make room for the young guys. But, you know, I'm okay with that. I love J.P. Crawford. I think he's got one of the best personalities on the team, but he wasn't good this year. And again, you know, at some point or another, we might have to move off, you know, those guys, because again, the weakness on the Mariners is the bullpen and the infield. You know, we need a better first, second, shortstop, and third baseman. Like, we need really good consistency out of those spots. Outfield, we're good. Randy Arozarena in left, right? Julio and center. Victor Robles in right. We're good there. Starting pitching, we're good. Bullpen, that's a problem. First base, second base, shortstop, third base, problem. And then we got the best catcher in baseball, Cal Raleigh, so we're good there. Yeah, but again, you know, the thing is Lazaro Montes can play right field, Harry Ford can play catcher or DH, and Cole Young and Colt Emerson play shortstop and second. So once we get those guys called up, Cole Young and Colt Emerson, get rid of, you know, JP or have him play a different position, as well as Jorge Polanco, get rid of Garver. And once we end up having a solid shortstop and second baseman, that could be all the difference, you know. And anytime we end up having a good third baseman like Eugenio Suarez, keep him. Don't let him go to another team. You know, I like Josh Rojas, but Suarez is better. You know, we have to pay. You know, the Mariners can't be so fucking cheap all the time, but it is what it is. Bottom of the fourth, 5-0 Dodgers. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Help your boy out. We're still waiting for the dono train to start. 5 more likes to get to 20. Let's get there. And hopefully we'll get some goats to come in here late to save the day. Essia and different pitcher every inning. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Machado. Next up, center fielder Jackson Merrill. Merrill crushes that one foul. Garber was a stupid decision. Same thing with Jorge Polanco. I would have rather spent 20 million, 10 million each, 11 million each for guys in the bullpen. Even if it's just a guy like a Matt Brash, that's someone that can pitch in the 7th inning, a guy that can pitch in the 8th. And now we got Troy Taylor, and we got Brash in the 6th or 7th, Troy Taylor in the 7th or 8th. And then obviously we got, Andres Munoz in the 9th, but we need one more guy, or two. So I would rather pay 10, 11 million for a guy to pitch 1 inning rather than trying to get a guy that was good on another team coming into Seattle, because it's hard to hit in Seattle. It's one of the hardest hitting ballparks to play at. And that's why so many new players that come to Seattle struggle. And that's not an excuse. It's just reality. I mean, look at all the players that come here. They usually don't do well. And then once they end up leaving and going to another team, what happens? They do really, really well. Right? Oscar Hernandez, Eugenio Suarez, Jared Kelenic, and sometimes you end up going to better organizations that have better, surrounding talent around those guys. But Seattle, at T-Mobile, it's a very difficult place to hit. It's not easy. I mean, unless you're Ken Griffey Jr. or like Ichiro or someone like that, Next up is Xander Bogaerts. Reflect in the building. What's good? Yeah, we were talking about that at the very beginning of the broadcast, that every single pretty much team that ends up having the bye, it hurts them and you don't win. So it's like Uncle Mo and momentum. You got to have good pitching and defense, but it's better, to be able to continuously play with 85 to 90 wins and barely get into the wild card and continue playing. Because if you have a week off, it ends up hurting you. And about 95% of the teams, that are in the 1 or the 2 spot, right, they end up losing. We obviously saw it in the last 2 years, in 2022 and 2023, right? Well, the Dodgers and Braves ended up being Phillies. Then obviously Dodgers, Braves ended up being the Diamondbacks. And, the Mets ended up beating the Phillies. Like, who would have thought, right? So it shows you might not be a better team, but again, having a week off in the NFL, it works because your guys can get healthy. You can game plan. You're fine. But in baseball, you have a week off, you're fucked. You're done. You're not going to probably advance. And we might only get one team that advances in the Yankees over the Royals. Everyone else looks like they're going to lose. Guardians, Phillies already lost. Tigers with Scuball looks like they're going to beat the Guardians. And then obviously in this particular matchup, we'll find out, if the Dodgers end up winning this game and Game 5 in LA, or if the Padres can do it. But I agree. You got to be able to just get into the wild. That's why if Seattle made it, who knows what could have happened? Maybe we would have won a series, or 2. Or maybe winning the division shouldn't really be the goal. Just getting in with a wild card is better instead of winning, 98 to 115 games and then having a week off and then losing and getting your ass kicked right out of the gate, just like the Orioles and a lot of these other teams, right? Reflect with a 3-er. Thank God that you showed up, man. I was thinking, man, I didn't do the game yesterday, because I felt that there might be a lack of support, and I wanted to spend time with Paisley. I watched the Kraken end up scoring 2 fast goals, and then St. Louis scored 3, and the Kraken lost at home for the very first time on opening day. And then, I was thinking, man, we're already almost an hour and a half in. Not a lot of support. But again, I like to be able to grind and, and try to keep busy. But again, no one wants to work for free, and thank you so much for stepping up. And hopefully we'll get a few other people to step up so that way we're not at a low number. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jack, bang, bang. Now, when I do Mariner games, we don't have a problem. But when we do any other game other than the Mariners, it's very hit or miss, and it's usually miss. So thank you so much. We're at 3:97 to go. Step in the building. What's good? Yes. What's up, Shep? Yeah, hopefully. But at least we have, Brash, and we got Troy Taylor and then Munoz, and then we need one more, to be able to fill into that gap there. So. Downs has zero value if it's not Joe Flacco, though. If you guys look at the stats and you actually watch the games, You know, again, like Downs is a player. You know, Pittman is out now with the injury, maybe for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe IR. But if Richardson is playing, there's no value for Alec Pierce. There's no value for Josh Downs. But if Joe Flacco plays, then everyone's value goes up through the roof. You know, Alec Pierce value goes through the roof. Downs value go through the roof. So we'll find out if Joe Flacco ends up playing, and then also if they make the smart decision by actually playing the player that is the best player, Joe Flacco, that gives him the best chance to win at 39, or if they go for the guy that is pressured to start because they ended up wasting a high draft pick on him, and a guy that's very inconsistent in AR. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to make the playoffs and you want to win, whose offense is getting the job done? It's easily Joe Flacco. So, we'll see, for Sarah's Colts, if and again, there's always going to be pressure by the owner and the organization to start the guy that you picked in the top 5. But if he's not good and he's not ready, and you got arguably the best backup in the league that should be a starter for probably at least 10 to 15 teams in the league right now, why wouldn't you play that? So again, that will show you if they actually understand football and winning, or if they're just going to end up, playing a role. And because again, if you got AR, you ain't winning. I'll tell you that right now. It doesn't have the accuracy, injury prone. And again, this is the second year in a row. And again, he's got a lot of upside when he can be possibly healthy, but we haven't been able to see that. Again, he's got a strong arm, but as far as like completion percentage and everything that he does, on a game in, game out basis, you're not being able to get the most out of him at this point in his career. You end up starting AR the rest of the season, 0% chance for the playoffs, 0. You start Joe Flacco the rest of the year, you probably can get a wild card. We can probably get to 10 wins. So, and actually have a chance to beat someone in the playoffs. And again, once AR is ready, then you can go him over Joe Flacco. But you don't want to waste a guy like Joe Flacco when he's on your team. Back to the wall, caught. Good defense there. I mean, like I said, I drafted him. I watch every Colts game beginning to end, and that's just the reality. Again, it's like, he can make a 62-yard bomb by slipping and right on the breadbasket to Alec Pierce. And I'm like, holy shit, that might have been the best throw I've seen in 2024. But then it's a 5-yard slant, and he overthrows the receiver by 10 yards. So it's like he can make the impossible plays, but he can't make the regular plays. And he's got one of the worst completion percentage in the NFL. So again, and he could be a successful runner, but I think with Steichen in the scheme, it's just, his body is too brittle. And I think the play calling isn't good when he's in the game. He can't make the normal routine easy plays. And again, if you can't run and you can't make the easy throws, you're not going to be successful in the NFL. This bottom line. I mean, it's just, we'll see what happens with him. And I hope it works out for Sarah and the Colts. But, again, we saw what Joe Flacco did for the Browns, and again, was able to get that team to the playoffs and even win, right? You're in the same type of situation, like I said, if you end up having an injury or a quarterback that's not playing well, even if it's a high draft pick, if you want to win, it's very clear who the best quarterback is. And honestly, if you go back to look at Joe Flacco's numbers from last year to this year, statistically speaking, he's actually one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL overall, like out of everyone. If you go back to look at his stat line, the guy barely throws picks, right? He's going to throw you 2 to 3, possibly 4 touchdowns every game. And if he throws a pick, it's like 1, but most games it's 0. And again, he gives you an aura and a vibe, and he's a Super Bowl winner. So if you're just going to be like, well, he's 39 and he's old. Yeah, but he doesn't throw picks. He's efficient. Everyone ends up being a monster on the field in fantasy and real life when he's out there. And I think every Colt fan understands when he's out there, you can win. When AR is out there, you're hoping that you can have him play well and win, but you're also very uneasy, because he throws picks and is not accurate. So, it is what it is. It's unfortunate that it's played out for AR so far in his early career, but I don't know if he'll ever make it as a starter in this league. But again, when you got a Joe Flacco, you fucking play him. Again, it's same thing. If like I had Baker and Baker ended up being inaccurate, but Joe Flacco's the backup and he's playing like he is for the Colts and the Browns, I would say, let's put in Joe Flacco. I wouldn't be like, oh, let's put in shitty Baker and he can't get it done. No, like you got to put in the best player And again, he's already proven himself, in every single stop that he's been at. So, and hopefully AR will be able to find himself in the next few years. But sounds like Steichen is stubborn and is going to throw in AR. And you know what? If that's going to happen, that's going to cost Steichen his job, period. Because if you throw in AR, you're going to continuously to lose games. And Colts fans are going to get pissed. Joe Flacco is going to be wasted. And the Colts are not making the playoffs. So I want the Colts to make the playoffs. And I want those players to be able to be excited, not to be disappointed when they're out there. So, and maybe in a year or two, maybe AR will be the guy. But right now, he ain't the guy. I mean, you could argue he might be one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I mean, hell, I couldn't even keep him in fantasy. And I wanted to. I drafted him, but I made a mistake. And sometimes you make mistakes. Top of the fifth, 5-0 Dodgers. Will Smith, 1 for 2, 2-run homer in the third. All of Josh Downs' stats are from Joe Flacco. So when Joe Flacco came in, he gets the ball. Pierce is a fucking animal when Flacco is in. But again, when it's AR, good luck, Yeah, it's rough, man. Like I told you, remember at the beginning of the year when I had mine and everyone else was this easy breezy cover girl and no one else was experiencing really what I was going through. I was like, it's a matter of time for some of these other teams to start getting injuries. Now, I don't wish, guys to be injured on IR or to have season-ending injuries, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. But for you, you drafted well, which is huge, right? You actually are very active and smart on the wire, so it hasn't hurt you. And even though you ended up losing Rashee Rice for the year, you're 5-0. You've outscored every other team by like 200 fucking points. It's ridiculous. So, again, at this point, even with the injuries that you have, you're in the playoffs. It's not like you're not going to the playoffs. So you got your players to do what they needed for you to get there. Now, we just have to be able to see if you can keep adding to the roster, which you will, to try to win it all. But again, those guys did their jobs, up to that point to give you a 5-0 record. And again, I wish I was 5-0, but I'm coming. You can definitely tell that the league is going to start to shift. Me and Chief will Chiefer towards the bottom, but we're going to move our way up. So you got, obviously, Reflect at the top. You got Shep. You got Zini. You got Double E. And then me and Chief will Chief are coming. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It might take me and Chief will Chief a few weeks to get there to catch up to Zini and Elliott, but you best believe we will. 1-2 pitch. Edmund fouls that one off. I don't know. I think Adams is staying with the Raiders because again, no one's going to give up a second-round pick for him. There we go. Tap to first. 1-2-3 inning there. Nice job, Tony Gwynn, legend. Colts already have a quarterback, Joe Flacco. Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's something to really be excited about. Like AR is better than one quarterback in the NFL. That's not good. And Levis is terrible. AR has got like potential because again in week 1, he ended up getting like 26 points. So it's not like he can't do it. Levis can't do anything, right? AR when he's on, he can get you 20 to 30 points. But again, like how many games like that are you going to get? But then to go from like 26 points to like 5. That's not sustainable, not only for the Colts fan base, but in fantasy. So, and there's no in between. Like, where's the 15 to 18 point games for AR? They don't exist. It's either, oh my God, 26 points or oh my God, 5. There's no fucking in between. So, Matt in the building. What's good? Coming, man. It's like when everyone was sleeping in the middle of the night, right? And I went through everyone's wire and I spied on everyone's team. What do I see? Oh, look, Tank Dell. right? Just sitting there. No one, some of you guys might have put in the requests or didn't think that you'd get them, And again, that's why, you end up working the wire and you end up finding pieces when everyone's sleeping. And again, that was a piece that, I definitely wouldn't have been able to get, based off the wire. But I mean, if everyone else is sleeping and I can end up getting a piece that might be able to use at some point or another, that's what you do. And I always try to find at least one or two pieces that are just sitting there. And if I don't take them in 3 in the morning, someone like Reflect is going to wake up at 6 a.m. and notice that Tank Dell is available and is easily going to grab them. So I have to make sure that I'm improving my team, but also I got to make sure that you guys pay the price for not waking up in the middle of the night and making sure to get the best players possible. So, we'll see what happens with Tank Dell. I don't really, right now they play the Patriots, and Stephon Diggs has had a pretty good year with Nico Collins, but he's going to be shadowed by Christian Gonzalez. So I don't think Diggs might have a good game, but it might be a little bit lower than expected. And obviously CJ Stroud's got a negative matchup against the Patriots. So again, they might end up running the ball a little bit after they end up having the lead. But maybe Tank Dell could be the guy that has like an easier matchup on the corner on New England, where he might be able to get in the end zone once or twice, or he might end up having a shit game. So it's very difficult to gauge. Just because someone is projected for 13 doesn't mean that they're going to get 13 to 20. They're more than likely just as capable as getting 3 to 8. So you got to be very careful on looking at who the corner is that's going to match up to that receiver. Just because Nico Collins is out doesn't mean that Diggs and Tank Dell are just going to go off in every game. So, I hope that they go off here and there for the people that have those guys, but fantasy is very challenging. Bottom of the fifth, 5-0 Dodgers. Appreciate the support. And again, if you're not making upgrades to your lineup every week, you're never going to make the playoffs. Not in this league. You might be able to do it in other leagues, but if you're not consistently blowing up your team and making it better every week, and because the thing is fantasy is week to week, it's not year to year. So again, there's going to be new players that step up, and if you don't grab them and use them, you're going to get left in the dust. And that's how fantasy works. You just end up drafting a team and having guys on the bench, and you don't make any moves, or you make like one move a week, you're fucked. You're never going to be able to keep up with the big boys and the big girls at the top that are making big moves every single week. Because again, there might be a player that shows out and then you end up grabbing them, and then they end up being a player that might be on your team the rest of the year. And if you're not making the moves to grab those type of players, you're going to get left in the dust. Big facts. Bottom of the fifth, 5-0 Dodgers. David Peralta, 1-for-1, 2-2 pitch from Vesia to Peralta. Peralta smashes that one behind the plate foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, you've been unlucky. But again, you've drafted very, very well, and even the backups you're able to utilize now. And if you didn't draft well, you'd be screwed. But you drafted top tier. And again, you're making moves every week. So, even though that you've got these big name guys that are IR or out for the year, it's not going to, it hurts. But it's still, you can still win the whole thing with your roster and the new guys that you pick up every week. So, you're not 5-0 by mistake. You're 5-0 by skill. There we go, Peralta. Next up, second baseman. It's the Crone Zone, Jake Cronenworth. 0-for-1. Let's make it 1-for-2. Let's make this a game. Come on, Padres. Peralta, the only player doing something. Come on, San Diego. Do you want this or not? I don't really feel the fans and the players have that sense of urgency. As soon as Mookie Betts hit that home run, they all gave up and became quiet. I need to see those towels. I need to see the crowd into the game. Because again, when the team is struggling, the last thing that they want is the crowd to be quiet. Yeah, concussions, ACLs, IR stints, you know. But like, no one had to go through a number one pick not playing the whole year like me. And not anyone got their number one receiver that played 1 week and I haven't had him since. Like, you know, I'm still missing 50 to 60 points, like where I would be projected the number one team every week, more than likely. You know, where I would be sitting at probably 125, 130, 135, 140. I haven't been able to do that. So, you know, I'm still waiting for my time to be able to shine in this league. You know, for now, I just have to fucking tread water and just try to, you know, slowly but surely try to catch up. And then once I get to 500, then I got to be above 500. And then eventually, you know, things will even out. And I know I'll be able to catch up to Zini and Elliott. And then we'll see with me and Chief, you know, at the bottom if we can kind of rise to the top. So, but obviously it's very clear, you know, with Reflect and Shep with the two best teams. But if you actually look at Zini's team, you know, and all her top 10 players, if she can get her players to hit, you could argue she's got the best team in the league. You know, like if you actually look at her players, if they hit, you know, with all her top 10 players, you know, she might be able to win it all. And again, she is very crafty. She's very intelligent. She's won this league before. So she's not stupid. She knows exactly what she's doing. But again, it's going to be very hit or miss with her players. You know, when the players don't hit, she'll probably lose. But if they hit everyone, you know, she might be able to score like she did this past weekend, more points than anybody in our league, even if we had all of our guys healthy. You know, her team is pretty special, you know, if you actually look at it. You know, the bench could be better, but if you look at the starters, they're just as good as, you know, Reflex and as well as Shep. So, you know, you can't count her out either. Bottom of the fifth, runners at first and second with no outs. Higgy is up. Let's go. Yeah, terrible. Terrible. Definitely a concussion. Should have been out of the game. Horrible decision to let him back in. I spy on all your guys' teams, and I look to see how many top 10 players you guys have, not only starting, but on the bench. And again, you know, some players, you know, aren't going to be in the top 10 because of injuries or there's somebody new, right? Where they were like a bench guy, and then all of a sudden they ended up breaking out. But, you know, that's kind of the goal. The more top 10 players you have in your starting lineup, that's going to be, you know, chances are that's going to be the teams that are going to end up being in the playoffs. Pitch right on the corner for a strike to Higgy. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Higgy is a guy on the Yankees that they gave up on too soon, right? And the Padres saw something in him, thinking that this guy could be better than, you know, just, you know, someone that's got tossed into the garbage. And Higgy has definitely been a big X factor for the Padres, not only this year, but beyond. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Higgy. We're at 3:97 to go. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Higgy, 1 away. You know, but at least my life will be a little bit better if I can get Cooper Kupp back in like a couple weeks and he plays the rest of the season. Then I can get like 15 to 30 points out of my wide receiver 1 spot with Mike Evans, and that'll make me feel good, and I'll be able to compete with you guys a little bit more. And then if I can get McCaffrey back, even if it's only for like a month, you know, that could be huge if he's healthy. Now, if he ends up not being healthy, then obviously, you know, that was like the number 1 wasted pick in fantasy. But again, I could be like, you know, Captain Oreo and pick Breece Hall or someone like that second and still get, you know, kind of hit or miss results. So, but I definitely won't be taking running backs with my first round pick ever again. I will be, you know, going wide receiver here on out for the rest of my life. I never will go running back first round. So I learned my lesson. Bottom of the fifth, 5-0 Dodgers. Runners at first and second. Luis Arise, 0 for 2. Is it your time? They need an RBI bad. Arise. Betts coming in. Good defense by Betts. 2 away. Arise has not had a good series against the Dodgers, and for them to be able to advance, he needs to play well. He needs to play like the player he was in the regular season, like Ichiro, because if he doesn't play well, they're not winning, period. Next up, Fernando Tatis Jr. This would be a great spot for him to be able to go yard and make it a 5-3 game. You make it a 5-3 game, you have a chance. Of course you guys are. I already plucked all the good shit while you guys were sleeping and taking it easy. I appreciate it. Caleb Williams, Colbert, going against Detroit's defense. That's going to be a shootout this weekend. Thank you so much. I got both tanks. Thank you so much. Dell and Bigsby. You guys are sleeping. Thank you. Appreciate it. I love blowing up my team every single week and just getting those new pieces, man. So far, until Jetta or Saquon ends up having an ankle and ends up being injured or going to IR or missing a few weeks with a concussion or something. So again, Chip hasn't really been impacted. You've been impacted with more injuries than him. But again, you did such an amazing job in the draft, right? And you're picking up good pieces every week that even though you're having some top tier guys out, it's not hurting you as if it would others that if you didn't do what you did. Because obviously if you were lazy on the wire and you ended up doing your draft, you would probably end up being in like third or fourth place right now. You'd still be pretty good, but you wouldn't be as good as you are in first place undefeated right now. And again, you play like I play. You and your son and you and your family play like I play, and understand that it's not a year to year, it's a week to week thing. And again, there's always going to be pieces every week that are there, and sometimes you end up having to play the matchup, right, for the week rather than hanging on to a good player that's not playing well. Because if you end up hanging on to a good player that's not playing well, and that's taking up a roster spot that you could have used for someone that had a good green matchup, that maybe isn't the top tier player, but then ends up getting 20 points, and that 20 points could have been a winner for you. You have to look at it like that. It's not easy letting go of guys that are superstars name recognition wise, but if they're not putting up the stats or their quarterback is hurt, then you're just having a wasted spot on your bench. You have to make sure that every piece on your bench should be a piece that you would actually consider putting in your lineup. And if it's not like that, you're not on the top tier with everyone else. You have to be able to make sure that every single piece, it could be in consideration of starting. If you just have guys just to have guys, you're going to get left in the dust. That's facts. $10 holla. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. Little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. $10 holla. Appreciate you. We're at 13. Thank you for your generosity. That's a lot better than 0. It's just a reality, Chef, because the thing is, if me and Reflect have to deal with it, then you're going to have to deal with it too. It's not like you're going to be able to skate by with all your players and then no one's going to get hurt. And Jetta and Saquon have an injury history. So it's just a matter of time where you have your guy, maybe not out for the year, but maybe out for a couple weeks or a month. Then you end up playing us and then you lose. And then we catch up, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's a nature of the beast. Popped up. Tatis. And they just can't cash in. Dodgers cleaning it up. End of the 5th inning, 5-0 LA. NFL, through what? NFL.com. 3 spots for IR. That's like too much. 3? Like what do they have on? Do they still have the same amount of people? 16 spots, and then they have 3 for IR. So what do they have? Like they have 19 spots total. I don't know. I think 1 IR spot is enough. You know what I mean? 3 is like a little ridiculous, but I guess
I get, shit happens and people get hurt. And I guess if you got guys hurt, it would be nice to be able to throw guys down there, and then you can get more guys to pick to be able to do damage and do battle with. But can't play tight end in the flex. Oh, okay. Is that normally what you and your family do? You guys do the NFL.com league? Because they have NFL.com, Yahoo, and ESPN. And the only reason that we do this ESPN one over Yahoo or NFL.com is just that was the league that we started up with the channel, and that's just what we continue to use. But if we ever want to be able to use a different league in the future, I'm up for years, for it. If you guys want to do like an NFL.com one, where you can see more of the pictures of the players' faces, or if you want to do Yahoo, I'm not opposed to it. It's just that we've done this one for 8 years, and it's just what we've done. But if you guys think that another league is better, or it's something that maybe we should consider, holler at me. And then maybe we can have a little discussion, and maybe we can end up doing another league. But, but doing the same one for 8 years, is, I don't know. I kind of like it, even though I haven't won in the last few years, but I've been definitely in a position to win, but again, you end up making the wrong decision, and you play someone like Reflect, he will make you pay, but at least I know that, I could have won if I would have went with my original starting lineup, but I decided to, be greedy and wanting to win it with Baker and Mike Evans, knowing that Baker was hurt. That was dumb. But it's like, to win a championship with Nick Mullins instead of Baker Mayfield, I don't know. It just was, I knew he was going to get yards against Detroit's defense because they didn't have one, but it's like winning a championship with Nick Mullins. And, that made me learn a big lesson that sometimes you're going to have to put a Nick Mullins in over your own favorite quarterback on your, fantasy team if you want to win it all. Otherwise, you'll lose. And that's exactly what happened. So, Zamir White, Nick Mullins, Jets D. If I would have just, left it alone like I originally had instead of switching it up last second. But again, Reflect definitely earned it. And I learned a big lesson. Sometimes you got to end up winning with, shitty players to have a good matchup. Yeah, I like the ESPN one the best. I mean, I've seen people do NFL and Yahoo and whatnot. And I think that if I was going to do a league other than ESPN, probably Yahoo would be the one I would go to with the photos and whatnot of the players. But I don't know. I kind of like this ESPN format. I just wish that they had more photos available, like on the main screen, so you could see what they look like and everything instead of having to click on the name and see a picture of them. Throw to first, safe. But I do like the animated shit talking. So when your guy scores a touchdown, they do a little dance and you can send it to the opponent. That's brand new this year. So I kind of like that. That they've done like a cartoon version of the player and you can see them, do the gritty or do a dance and then you can send that to the opponent. But I kind of feel like when you send it to an opponent, it's almost like karma. Like if you send it, something bad's going to happen. Like you're being too like greedy. You're being too like showboaty, So it's like, it's cool to do it initially, but I feel like for me personally, like I'm not going to really do it. Like I did it early, like maybe in the first week, but after losing 3 weeks in a row, I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll just fucking look at the celebration myself and I won't send it. I know me and Shep can send it back and forth to each other, but also the person has to be on the app at the same time for it to pop up on their phone or on the computer. And if not, then they're not going to see it unless they like click on the notification. So, but I do like that feature though of the extra shit talking, Yeah, I did the same thing. You grabbed quarterbacks, but I did too because you were trying to block me and I was trying to block you. So again, a lot of times it comes down to not only who you want, but who you have to grab to block the other person from using. And we were both on that same page where we were both trying to block each other and whatnot. So there's so many different dynamics to fantasy that people don't realize unless you've actually been a winner before. Like actually playing defense in fantasy is something. Most people don't do it unless you're elite, but sometimes it's like you want a guy, but if you can get a guy and put him on your bench and block that person from getting a piece that could be used against you is just as smart as grabbing someone that, has been successful on the wire. Strategy, man. Some of you guys are playing checkers and people like Reflect are playing chess. You got to catch up. Same thing with Shep. Top of the 6, 5-0 Dodgers. Runner at first with 1 out. Next up is Chris Taylor. Big swing and a miss. Come on, Padres. So the schedule tomorrow will be, we got Seahawks, Niners. And then we're going to do, if the Dodgers win this game, which it looks like they will, we'll do Dodgers, Padres on Friday in LA. Saturday, we'll do Ohio State and Oregon, number 2 versus number 3 in Autzen. Amazing. And then on Sunday, obviously Monday, the matchups aren't as good. It's like Giants and Bengals and then Jets and Bills. Not really the most exciting. Obviously, Bucks, Saints, and Lions, Cowboys will be more exciting than those matchups. But if Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes gets Malik Neighbors, that could be kind of exciting with Burrow and Chase and Higgins. And then obviously Jets and Bills. It just depends if we get the good Josh Allen and the good Aaron Rodgers or the bad version. We'll find out. But not the best Sunday night, Monday night matchup, but we'll be doing those as well. Well, best case scenario, if we can get, if we get Reflect and Shep to lose, right? And then we get a couple other teams that are at the bottom to win, things are going to be a lot more interesting. At some point, the teams at the top are going to lose, Maybe not a lot of games, but again, for people that are undefeated and only 1 loss, it's just a matter of time before you run into a monster, whether that's Zini or Chief O'Chief or myself. It's a matter of time. But you guys have done great up to this point. Especially Shep with all his 8 quarterbacks, which he's dwindled down to just a couple now. Top of the 6, 5-0 Dodgers. But I get it, man. I mean, if you got the luxury to be able to go through many quarterbacks and you just want to make sure you get the right backup, I don't blame you, man. If you can afford to do that and you got a good record, you can stack on any position you want. You want fucking 3 tight ends? Have 3 tight ends. You want 4 quarterbacks to figure out for a couple weeks what 2 or 3 you want to keep? Do you? I would have done the same thing if I was in that position and I felt that was a need, Pitch in there for a strike, 1-2 count. But the picking up the Patrick Mahomes, you thought you were getting yourself a steal, and then you found out he ain't good, and then you ended up dropping him. So sometimes people already realize that someone isn't good, and sometimes you got to grab a guy, look at what he does in a week, and then fuck, yeah, he's not good this year, and then you ended up dropping him. But I could have told you that from the very beginning, but you got enamored by the name Patrick Mahomes. Ooh, I got Patrick Mahomes. And then you realize he's got 6 touchdowns and 6 picks and he's garbage this year. And you're like, he's not good. So sometimes you got to grab a player for your own and then see what they do for a week. And then you can make the decision. This was not the right one, and then you can move on. Top of the 6, 5-0 Dodgers. Runner at first, 2-2 pitch. Ohtani fouls it off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Huskies winning against Iowa this weekend. It's an early matchup at 9 in the morning. I'm watching, though. No disrespect to Iowa. They got a pretty good team as well, but Huskies are coming. Shohei absolutely crushes that one. Foul. This guy's kind of good. You might have heard of him. But I'll wake up early and I'll watch that game. I'll watch the Iowa-Washington game. And then we got Red River Shootout. We got Oklahoma and Texas. So it's like the whole weekend is fire for Saturday games. Like the games on Saturday for college football are way better than the NFL games on Sunday. I mean, besides Lions and Cowboys should be like a shootout. I think Bucks Saints will be interesting. You got Spencer Rattler making his first start. Might take Carr's job. Obviously, my defense hopefully will be a little bit more healed up so we don't get embarrassed like we did against the Falcons with that shit defense. 3-2 pitch from Estrada to Ohtani. That one fouled off. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, now you're getting greedy, talking about getting Henry as well. I mean, aren't you happy enough that you're 4-1? It's like, what, you got to try to grab every single top tier player in the draft? You're not playing with dummies in this league. Again, you got, this is the most talented top to bottom that we've ever had. At some point, people are going to pick the top tier players, even if it's just based off the numbers that they're projected in. Now you're getting greedy, Shep, trying to act like you wanted to get Henry on top of that as well. Uh-oh. What's that, Sports Gods? Injury bug for Shep? Getting too greedy, too cocky? Okay. Injuries to Jefferson and Saquon? Okay. All right. Remember that. You had your birthday and you had your fun. You ended up beating me in fantasy and you ended up beating the Buccaneers. But the Sports Gods, I got them on speed dial, not you. Remember that. So it's just a matter of time now. Just a matter of time until those injuries hit you. It's affected me and Reflect and a few others in the league. It's about your time, my guy. I'm telling you, you're getting too greedy. You're getting too cocky at 4-1. Okay. Maybe that means Double E is going to beat you this week. I know Zini is going to be coming for Reflect, so we'll see what happens. But it should be very, very close in those two matchups. I could see it definitely going either way. I could see Shep and Reflect dominating again, or we might see, Zini and Double E, being a little bit closer than people think. So it's probably the biggest threat that the two of you guys have had up to this point so far, based on who you're playing, and who they have on the roster. And, again, can Joe Burrow play 2 games good in a row with a 1-4 record, with Jamar and with T. Higgins? That'll be the determining factor if Reflect wins or not. Now, if you end up getting, 4 or 5 touchdown passes out of Burrow and Chase goes off again, then, we already know what that could lead to. But how realistic is it for Burrow to have 2 good games in a row? We'll find out. Yeah. It's lonely at the top for the two of you. I'm trying to catch up. Oh, it ain't the Popo you got to worry about. It's the Sports Gods. Again, if I say it out loud, 9 times out of 10, it happens. We talk about this, we talk about that, and then you just pay attention. But things are talked about, right? We say this, and then it ends up happening. Not every time, but a lot of the time. So it's about time you get down into the a couple L's. You've already, we're already a third of the way through, and you've skated by with minimal injuries. It's about time that you feel the pain of everyone else, of what it's like to be able to lose a guy for the year or lose a guy to IR or multiple. Yeah, bad luck with Rice, and then obviously with Mixon as well, and then Njoku, and now with Nico. But obviously Rice is season ending, but again, Nico will be back. Njoku. But the thing is you're 5-0, and even though the tight end position has been terrible this year, right, you can stream a tight end every week, and you're scoring so many points that the Njoku injury hasn't affected you. Like it may have, affected you in years past if the tight end position was better, and people were actually getting points out of that position. But, the Rice is huge. Obviously, Nico and Mixon is huge, but they'll be back. But the Njoku thing hasn't hurt you. Tight ends have been garbage this year, so it's not like you've had too many close games. I mean, you've been blowing everyone out pretty much every week. So we're at 13, 87 to go. Next up is Mookie Betts. But I'm proud of everyone in the league, with all kidding aside. Mookie pops up, and they're going to leave 2 stranded. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th, 5-0 Dodgers. Come on, Padres. But I'm really proud of Reflect and Shep and Chief and Zini and all y'all in the league, because again, Chief was the worst player in the league. Wasn't even really playing to start off, auto drafted. And it just, he was the last one to join our league, started off 0-2, and then got 2 wins. And, again, he's going to kind of go through the up and the down, and we'll see how serious Chief takes his team. And if he takes it serious, he's got a team that's good enough to make a playoff spot. But if he doesn't, I'll pass him, at some point, and then I'll have to try to catch up to Elliott and Zini, take their spot, or try to, and then try to be up at the top, with the big boys. So, but I feel in about 2 to 3 weeks, there's going to be 6 teams that are going to be the top, and then there's going to be the other 4, and the other 4 are just going to be too far back to be able to catch up. But there's going to be, in about 2 to 3 weeks, about 6 teams, fighting for 4 spots, and we'll find out, who the best 4 are out of the 6. So, Britt in the building. What's good? How are you? I still need to be able to get your male t-shirt size for the Chase Elliott shirts. I still got to go to NASCAR.com and kind of take a peek between a few different designs. If I want to get one that has like his face on it, or has his face on it with the car on it, or one with the car with the Napa on it. I mean, or if it's like a collage where it's got a couple of different images of him and the cars with the Napa, we got to figure it out. Well, hopefully you're doing well and you can get back on track in fantasy in your league too. Britt Doggy Dog in the building. Reflect. Have you on social media, John Gruden, right? John, I don't have TikTok, right? And I never will, right? But John Gruden, has posts on TikTok and like Twitter/X, that you'll end up getting. John Gruden's breakdowns for games and going over his guys and his little videos is the best thing on the internet right now. He is a psychopath madman that is super intelligent and super entertaining. I don't know if you guys have seen any of Gruden's stuff, but I would highly recommend it. It's hilarious. I don't know how any other way to describe it. The intensity and the knowledge that he drops, as well as the way that he drops the information, is hilarious. And again, he does kind of 2 different styles. He does like a team breakdown of a matchup, where it's a little bit more normal. And then he ends up going over like his Gruden grinders, like his guys. Oh my God. It's fucking hilarious. He is insane. There's no other way to go about it though, but he started doing them this year and it's very, very good. The breakdowns for the matchups are very, very broken down well with all the stats and the analytics. And then when he goes over like his little like Gruden grinders for like the top guys, like his top 3 or 4 guys, that he likes, that had a good week. Incredible. I've never seen anything more entertaining than that this year on the football side. It's crazy funny. Like his facial expressions, it's like it almost feels like he's drunk, or on drugs, but he's not. He's just a fucking intense guy, but it's so good. Like I find myself watching him and just fucking laughing left and right. It's so fucking funny. Baker Mayfield as Gus Swayze. Yeah, I saw that too. I've watched a few of them, here and there, but I haven't watched it regularly. But I usually watch, back, and just to the wall and caught. Machado flied out to center, the best shot that they had here today. 1 away. But Belichick obviously is very intelligent. He does great interviews with Pat McAfee, as well as with Eli and Peyton. Anytime he ends up being a guest, or anything that he's on, he's money. Super intelligent, and again, good on the microphone. Next up is center fielder Jackson Merrill. Elliott's in pain. 2-1 lead. You just need to get going. Just get to 1 or 2 or 3, and then you know that you're going to have a chance. But it's like, fuck, it's already the bottom of the 6th. Like you're running out of time. Throw to first. And that is it. Evan Phillips wheeling and dealing. Elliott, double E in pain. End of the 6th inning, 5-0 Dodgers. And game 5 goes back to LA. Not saying that San Diego can't win in LA. They can. But you want to end them now. If you end up letting them hang around, you already know there is a very high probability with that fan base that the Dodgers could end up, getting the dub at home on Friday. So it's not over yet. And obviously it's not looking good in this game, but hopefully we get at least a couple runs, and if you do, you'll have a better chance of winning game 5. If you guys get skunked and you lose 5-0 or worse, you might end up losing the series in game 5, unfortunately. Yes. And Baker, like I said, coming out of Oklahoma, kind of gave you Johnny Manziel vibes, very immature, a lot of shit talking and whatnot. But again, Baker turned the corner by getting married, having a daughter, and he's a completely different person. The guy is like one of the most mature guys on the entire team. Like, I didn't really know if the 1-year prove it deal was going to work. I was thinking, oh, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., how cool would that be? But now, after being able to see him at Oklahoma, at Cleveland, at Carolina, right, out on the Rams, and now with Tampa, this is our guy, and he's going to be our guy for the next 5 to 10 years. And that feels good to be able to have a franchise QB, and we won't have to worry about him looking over his shoulder, And again, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are making him look good. Let's not deny the fact. Bucky Irving and Rashad White, Cade Otton, those guys, the offensive line, Graham Barton, Tristan Wirfs, they're making him look good. If we didn't have as good of receivers, Baker wouldn't be in the conversation, right? But with that being said, Jalen McMillan and a few of the others, Shepard was a college teammate of Baker, ended up, putting in some work, and eventually we are going to have to get, replacements for, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But for the time being, we're going to enjoy the hell out of this run with Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We just got to help that defense out a little bit so they don't look like shit like they did against the Falcons when they played a soft zone for the whole game and they literally had no one covering within a 5-yard distance the whole game. Like, how do you not make the adjustments? Come on, Todd Bowles. Jesus Christ. I need to call Monty Kiffin up. Golly. Monty Kiffin, my boy. End of the 6th inning, 5-0 Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers, left fielder Teoscar Hernandez. Batting second, first baseman today for Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy. And batting third, catcher Will Smith. I agree with you. Like I told you, going into this series, I thought that, even though the Dodgers, have had like kind of choking moments in the last couple years, you did beat them a couple years ago, but I feel that these are the only two teams in baseball that can get 10 runs on any given night. And it just so happens that you matched up with them and, you guys would have beat the shit out of the Phillies and that would have been probably better, if it ended up being like, Dodgers, Padres in the NLCS, not the NLDS. That's what we really wanted, but it didn't happen. But again, you got to be able to find a way to get past the Dodgers here first. Eventually Pete Alonso will cool down against a better team, you would assume, and Francisco Lindor, right? We'll see if the Tigers and Scooball will eliminate the Guardians, which I feel that's a high probability. And if the Yankees end up beating the Royals, I don't know. I don't really feel that the Yankees are that intimidating. It's like, yeah, you got Juan Soto, Giancarlo, and Aaron Judge, but they're not playing better baseball than the Padres or Dodgers. I feel like the Padres and Dodgers are playing the best baseball. Now, the Mets and Tigers are hot, and anything could happen with those two teams, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. Ooh, let me know how that is. Top of the 7th, 5-0 Dodgers. Mad Max Muncy in the box. 1-0 count. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Are we at 20 yet? Hopefully we're at 20. Hopefully we can get to 25 or 30. So if you are in the room and haven't done it yet, please do. Help us out with the algorithm. And then we're still shooting for 100 in the donos on every stream. We need 2 more to get to 20. So if you are in the room and haven't done it yet, I know you can get there. Now we need 1 more. We're at 19. 1 more to get to 20. Let's get there, baby. Yeah, Drake May starting against the Texans is great. Obviously, and that hit him on the elbow. But again, like I said, just with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, They probably should have, ended up going the opposite way as far as the starter is concerned. But usually they like to go with the vet first, wait for him to fail after a month, and then they bring in the rookie or the quarterback that should have started. But, Aiden O'Connell should have started from the very beginning. That was a mistake by the head coach. He should have known better. You go with the guy that you coached last year, not the new guy. But again, pressure by the organization to go with the vet first, and typically that's how it goes. You go with the vet, they wait for them to fuck up, or you have a 1-3, 2-2 record, you make a change, and then you try to see how it goes from there. So I don't think Drake May necessarily is ready to start, but again, you already know what you're getting with Jacoby Brissett. Nothing is going to change. So you might as well get more turnovers, but more excitement in the lineup and for the fans, for the Patriots, by putting Drake May in. So even though Drake May might still be maybe 4 games too early or maybe a year too early, at least that if you're going to lose, you're going to lose with some excitement. And May will get the ball to the receivers, and the players will play harder for him than they will for Jacoby Brissett. So, if you're still going to lose games, right, you might as well start Drake May. And Drake probably at one point or another later in the season will give you a better chance to win than Brissett. Maybe not early on, but later in the season, he'll give you a better chance, and it'll give time for better chemistry with those receivers. And one guy that's really going to benefit from Drake May starting is from the Huskies, Jalen Polk. You get Polk the football, you're going to end up getting more dubs. Facts. I have not. Uh-oh, error by the Padres. My God. Jesus Christ. Uh-oh. Yeah, but you don't want to throw a guy into the Wolves right in week 1, because obviously what we saw in preseason, he wasn't ready. They wanted to protect the quarterback at that particular point. So, regardless on who's in, Brissett or, with Drake May, they're going to get fucked up because of the injuries on the offensive line, But again, you are going to see guys like Polk step up and make plays, and you're also going to see other guys, play better with May. You're going to see shoulders not shrugged. You're going to see a little bit more excitement in the eyes, a little bit more vibe, and a little bit more energy. And again, it's just like with the Browns. You want to keep losing games with Deshaun Watson, or do you put in a guy that's going to have more excitement in Jameis Winston? If you're going to lose games, you might as well lose in an exciting way. And then you might actually have a better chance to win games with guys like maybe Drake May or Jameis Winston. It may not be the long-term answer, but at least, you want to have some fun when you're watching your games, right? So. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But at least you're getting them now, so. But also you don't want a guy to come in too early and to lose all confidence in himself, and again, you end up going 0-5 and you guys lose by 20, 30 points every game. He might not be able to recover from that. Underhand, got him. 6-0 Dodgers. Brutal. Yeah, it's going to always be a little bit of a calculated process on when you start a player and when, you wait for the vet to fuck up or the team to fuck up to get him in. There is no real science to it. It is kind of, usually it's around that 4 to 5 week period, depending on if you're 1-4 or 2-3 or 2-2 or 1-3. And then usually at that point, you're trying to save your season. Under review on this play. The Diddler starter pack. Yeah, man. Watch out for him, dude. Watch out for the Diddler. And he's not the only one that's guilty. I've seen quite a few of those on my timeline and whatnot. Fucking Diddler, man. It's like the Riddler, but much worse. My obsessions? My obsession. Brit 1, Brit 2, Brit 3. That's my obsession. Top of the second. Top of the seventh. 6-0 Dodgers. Runner at second. 2 outs. 6-0 Dodgers. Yeah, but you also have to remember Christian Gonzalez, is still one of the best corners in football. So even though Nico Collins is out, Diggs, obviously will be getting looks. But, if the defense can actually play well, Stroud may not have as big of a game as people think. Like, most people think that the Texans will win, but they're probably not going to win by like 30. You might end up being able to shut down some of their guys. And, if you can shut them down a little bit and get a little lucky out of May, I'm not saying that they're going to win against the Texans, but again, it could be closer than people think. So I try. I could have said many other things, Brit 1, Brit 2, Brit 3. And then obviously, you guys, number 4, the channel, Paisley is obviously in that list, but that typically, that's usually how it goes, I just got to be able to get more donos one day, and then I gotta fly to Connecticut, fly solo or fly with Paisley. I don't know how Paisley would react to that. Top of the seventh, 6-0 Dodgers. Double E. He might need a handkerchief. He might need a Kleenex. This is rough. I wasn't anticipating the Dodgers to be up by this much, but again, these two teams at any given moment can score 10, but kind of feels that maybe they thought that the series was over tonight and that they were just going to be able to coast. But again, that's what happens when you end up having a different pitcher every inning for both of these teams. One team is going to end up finding a way to make it work, and then the other team ended up getting kind of fucked up by it. Cease was obviously on low rest, and he got obliterated early on. And unfortunately, I still think the Padres have a chance to win in Game 5, even if it is in LA on Friday. But maybe that's what the sports gods want, right? The sports gods want us to be able to have something to do on Friday, because I didn't have anything really scheduled. But if the Padres lose today, not ideal for Elliott, but, after the Hawks and the Niners tomorrow, we would have an awesome game number 5, Dodgers and Padres. So, and then we got Ducks in Ohio State. Then I might do the Bucks and Saints at 10 a.m. It depends on how Paisley's feeling. I'll definitely be watching the Lions-Cowboys game. And then we got Bengals and Giants Sunday night. Not the greatest, but I'll watch and I'll stream. And then we got Jets and Bills. That one's a little bit better for Monday night rather than Giants and Bengals. Unless we get a shootout where Daniel Jones plays awesome and Neighbors goes off for like 150, 200 yards, then that could actually make it kind of worthwhile. Back. Gone. Oh, my. Gavin Lux, 8-0 Dodgers. Uh-oh. Sorry, Double E. But the Dodgers said, no Freddie Freeman, no problem. Not today. Next up, third baseman, Kike Hernandez. Oh, my. $100%. Yep, I agree. 100%. Especially when the Padres usually get going early and often. If you got to wait for them to respond with a run this late, you're not coming back. Normally it's like a haymaker for a haymaker, a black eye for a black eye, an uppercut for an uppercut. But when one team is raking and the other isn't, and you got to wait this long, you're not coming back. I mean, if Kike Hernandez is fucking you up, you already know it's not going well, Next up, center fielder Chris Taylor. I feel bad for you, Double E, because, again, why couldn't have this game been a little bit closer? You lose, but it's close, not like this fucking blowout that we have here, but... Yeah, well, they have to go through the concussion protocol. Obviously, it doesn't matter in Buffalo if Josh Allen's brain is mush or not, CTE or not. You know, he might turn into fly like a butterfly, sting like AB, Antonio Brown, if he's not careful. But, you know, lots of pressure for that organization and that player to step up after no Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. But making a guy play or letting a guy play after a concussion was not right. And, you know, hopefully they'll be smarter about that. But I think that there's a good chance that Neighbors will clear. I already knew he wasn't going to clear concussion protocol last week, but there is a chance that he'll compete this week. Sunday Night Football as well, so a little bit more time for him to be able to pass the testing. Because the Giants have no chance of winning that game without Neighbors. But if he plays, him, Wandale Robinson, you know, and they end up having Tracy and a few others, and, you know, maybe the defense and Thibodeau makes some, you know, occasional play here, play there. We would assume the Bengals will win, but, you know, it's not like the Bengals are 5-0. You know, they're not very good this year. So, like, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase had a good week last week, but prior to that, they weren't really playing that well. Chase Brown's playing well. You know, Zach Moss is playing well. You know, Higgins and obviously Jamar and Burrow, it's very hit or miss. And the defense is garbage, you know, obviously on that side. You know, the Bengals have no defense whatsoever, so. MSU in the building. What's good, brother? Screwball doing screwball things, and you guys more than likely look like you're going to advance like the Mets did. And then the next question is can the Tigers keep going and beat the Yankees or the Royals? I mean, if Screwball can pitch 3 times in a 7-game series, I think you guys could win. You know, but again, it all depends on Parker Meadows and the rest of the guys. I mean, hell, they brought Spencer Torkelson up from AAA, and he's even able to help you guys out. So, you know, you guys are doing what Mariner fans would hope that would be us. You guys are going above and beyond. You got the best pitcher in baseball. You guys are feeding off that momentum, and I'm rooting for you guys to keep going. I don't know when your guys' season's going to end, but you guys got hot at the right time. And again, it shows you winning the division isn't the key. You have to get in by a wild card and keep playing games. Once you have a week off, you're fucked. Because we might only have one team that advances out of the 4, the Yankees, and all the others may not advance. We'll find out if the Dodgers end up winning, obviously, on Friday, and maybe we'll have 2 teams, Yankees and Dodgers advance. But if not, we're only going to maybe have 1. So. Oh, yeah. He should have never came back. His head slammed off the fucking turf. And there should have been, you know, at least someone there, like, you know. And again, I know how desperate you are to win games, Buffalo fans. But, you know, again, you know, you have to be able to be safe. And again, it shows you some organizations don't care. All they care about is the win, you know. And even the quarterback, sometimes they don't even care about their own brain or their own health. They're like, fuck it, I need to get out there. We need to win. But sometimes you need to have, you know, the proper people there saying, no, even if we lose this game, you know, you're our future. But apparently winning a regular season game is bigger than CTE or brain damage, you know. Yeah. And if Screwball pitches 3 times, nobody's beating him, period. Every time Screwball pitches, lights out. Like, he's not losing. I don't care if it's against Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton. Good night. He pitches 3 times, you know, you're going to win. But who's going to win that other game when Screwball doesn't pitch if it goes 7? You know, if he pitches game 1, game 4, and possibly game 7, like, you know, who's pitching that other game to possibly get him the victory? That's the question. I agree. There definitely needs to be something, you know, something else there, you know, where they, you know, look at that particular play and realize that that person is concussed, you know. But it's definitely, you know, a very hit or miss. Some players are smart enough to take themselves out of the game, you know, but again, when it ends up being a quarterback, especially a superstar like Josh Allen, you know, you best believe he's never going to voluntarily, you know, say, yeah, you know, I'm out. You know, these guys are going to try to play through whatever they're going through. But Tigers are hotter than the Guardians. You know, we'll see if the Royals can end up tying it up, but Bobby Witt Jr. and company have to play well. But it kind of feels like Tigers, Yankees, and Mets versus who? But it shows you could be good all year like the Phillies and Orioles, and it don't mean shit, you know. Hell, the Mets, had to go through a doubleheader just to get into the playoffs over the Diamondbacks. And it kind of makes you wonder, if the Diamondbacks got in, would they have done the same thing as the Mets? I think so. I think that the Diamondbacks would have been able to, because they were kind of hot at the end of the year as well. But the most surprising is definitely the Mets and the Tigers. I agree. Who's pitching for you tomorrow? I'll be watching. But Scooball is the most fun to watch. I think in my rankings, I would go Scooball 1, Skeens 2. No disrespect to Chris Sale. I think he was right there with Scooball as the best pitchers this year. Scooball, Sale, Skeens. But I just like Skeens' aura as a righty. And if I have to go with a lefty, give me Scooball over Sale 100% of the time. I don't think there's any scenario that I pick Sale over Scooball ever. He's definitely proven that he is the guy. And Sale is great. He's good too. But if I had to choose one, I'm going Scooball over Sale, and I'm probably going Skeens over Sale too, just by a little bit. But at the end of the day, all three are electric. All three are amazing. Xander Bogaerts in the box. And I appreciate you coming in, Reflect. Otherwise, we'd still be at a 0. Zeros aren't good. $10 holla. That's another reason why I was kind of weary of doing the game yesterday. I wanted to spend time with Paisley. The Kraken ended up losing. And I wanted to do the game, but I could tell she needed me. But again, it's like stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jab, bang, bang. But it's like, I feel like, we have a certain amount of people that support, and depending on who shows up and who doesn't, that could be the difference. So, but we should never be at a 0 on any stream based on where we're at sub count wise. But I have to make sure I'm looking out for my mental health too. And if it comes down to doing a stream or Paisley, I'll choose Paisley every time. But also, when you got bills to pay, I can't take too many days off either. So, and if there's a good event or a good game to do, I want to do it. So I appreciate you, Reflect, for recognizing the support and how important it is to get the support here. Maybe one day we'll get others to support. First strikeout. Bogaerts struck out looking, one away. Yeah, the pets, it breaks my heart, seeing people chain up their dog on the highway in standing water and just leave. How dare you? Those type of people go to jail. Those people, these pets can't fend for themselves. And then if you got a house in the tornado, leaving them in a kennel, on the ground floor where water is coming in, they're not surviving. Take the dogs and cats with you. It's like, if you're not going to take care of the dogs and cats if they're your own children, you don't deserve to have a dog or a cat ever. And there's going to be a lot of casualties with humans as well as animals, but unbelievable how heartless some humans are. Luckily, some of these dogs that were chained up on the highway, luckily the paramedics and the police have been able to rescue some, but obviously not all. Crone Zone popped up. Back off the wall. Go Crone Zone. Go for 3. Go for 3. There we go. Appreciate you. Nice job, Crone Zone, with the triple. Next up, catcher Kyle Higashioka. Higgy. I never understood how people can be so heartless and cruel. to animals like that. But again, that's why, with like dogs, they know a good person and when someone's not a good person, so if someone doesn't like dogs, it's always going to make people feel like a little, weary, a little suspect if they don't like dogs or cats, right? But again, the way that certain animals react to certain type of people, they are very smart, and they are very aware of aura and vibe on when someone is a good person and when someone isn't. Facts. End of the 7th inning, 8-0 Dodgers. Come on, Padres. It's like they're getting, some guys on, but they're just not able to knock them in. Rough. Next up for the Dodgers, 1 for 2 with an RBI, 2 base on ball, DH, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, 2 for 4 with a run and 2 RBIs. Had a solo dinger to get them to 1-0 yesterday and today, Mookie Betts. And batting third, 2 for 4 with a K, left fielder with a grand salami yesterday, and doing damage here today, Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah. I mean, I think it all depends if you have a connection, with a cat or a dog that is stronger than a normal connection to a cat or a dog. Like, I don't even know if I can live my life without Paisley. Like, that's how attached we are to each other. Like, I like being able to have that presence in my life, and it's like, especially too, when, you have that bond, sometimes, as humans, we need to have that physical contact to have like that hug. And sometimes if there's not a human, there to hug, it's nice to be able to have that cat or that dog, to be able to hug you and you can hug back, and I feel that, in our world, we don't have enough people, to be able to get those natural hugs in their life. And I think that's why, I feel like people start to, kind of deteriorate and kind of be more selfish, and to not be maybe the best version of themselves. And sometimes all you need is, that 10 or 15 second hug, from someone that, that loves you, to understand that you're loved. And I think a lot of us, we don't get that on a regular basis. But sometimes, we can get that from our pets. Obviously it may be different if you have kids or, you have a wife or a husband or a boyfriend or girlfriend, something of that nature, but if there's distance apart, or you don't have that in your life, it goes a long ways. Top of the 8th, 8-0 Dodgers, nobody on, 0-1 count to Shohei Ohtani, 1 for 2 with a single, 2 walks and an RBI. Cousin Shohei, you might have heard of him. .6'4", 210. I mean, I know Shohei Ohtani would have looked amazing in Mariner teal and obviously Mariner blue, but him in Dodger blue looks so natural, like almost like he's wore that uniform his whole career. And you forget that he was wearing the red and the gray with the Angels all those years. But obviously, Mariner organization too cheap to afford anybody, let alone Shohei Ohtani. So they'll win at least one championship with Ohtani. But obviously, they're hoping to win 3 or 4 with him there before he retires. But I'm not sure if they'll win that many. Well, he fouls it off himself. Hopefully, he's okay there. Britt is still mad about Mookie leaving, and Benintendi, and Bogarts. Fouls that one off the foot. New Balance has definitely been moving up and up on a lot of the, sponsorships. They started off a little small, but they've definitely raked in quite a few top-tier athletes in their brand. Down goes Shohei Ohtani, strung out swinging. One away. Next up, right fielder, Mookie Betts. Pitch is inside. 0-1 count. Wow, they called that a strike? Unbelievable. Behind in the count, 0-2. 2 for 4 with a solo home run. And Mookie, set the tone with that solo blast early in the game in the first inning. And they never looked back. Peralta with another K, 2 away. Next up, left fielder that should have never left the Mariners, Teoscar Hernandez. Should have kept him. Should have kept Eugenio Suarez. I agree with Smoltz too. I think about 4 or 5 years of pitching with Ohtani, and then he's going to have to get to a point where he's like 35, where if he wants to play till he's 40, then he'll have to be just like a DH or just a positional player at that point. But he's going to have an opportunity to win 15 to 20 games at least one of those 5 years that he pitches for the Dodgers. You would think that winning 10 to 15 games for him should be pretty regular, but he might have 1 year where he ends up going 50-50 and winning like 15 to 20 games. 50 homers, 50 stolen bags, 15 wins. That would be nuts. We finally hit 20. Boom shakalaka. I got all my favorite people in the room, so. Pitch is inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Pitch is low and into the dirt. 3 balls and no strikes. He did. Yeah, Yoshinobu got fucked up, and then Teoscar, he's a gamer, man. At least the All-Star game in the future will have the regular uniforms moving forward, which is a great move. But I don't like the new format. And again, the new format, Teoscar ended up winning. Obviously the home run derby, but they just need to go back to the old rules and the old uniforms. Throw to first, and we're going to the top of the 9th. Last opportunity here for the Dodgers, and then we'll have one more opportunity for the Padres to at least get a run. Come on. Anything that you want to see photo-wise for your donos, Reflect? I appreciate you so much. Brand new season of Life Below Zero debuted last night, 2 hours. I love that show. It's been on for like 23, 24 years. I've been watching it since season 1. Amazing stuff, and it shows them hunting, fishing, trapping, and I love the cast in that show. If you're looking for good vibes with snow dogs, puppies, and just the overall Alaska vibe, highly recommend watching. It's very, very good. Great cast of characters on that show too. Yeah, the dating game, for sure. Yeah, plus, in this type of, time that we're living in, and social media and everything, and it's not like with our parents or our grandparents where people would have a fight and they would talk and they, would try not to go to bed angry or try to work it out. But now everyone is like, oh, I have an argument, and then they just, move on. It's like no one tries to like work things out like our parents did or our parents' parents. It's always like next man up, next woman up, like, and that's terrible. This TikTok generation and this younger society, I feel sorry, for, a lot of these things that we see. Again, there are some good people still out there, but again, a lot of the good people, are very, leery on dating because of the experiences that they've had or the experiences they've seen their friends have. Again, I know there's good people out there, but they're far and few between nowadays than what they were maybe a few years back. That's for damn sure. You definitely have to be a lot more selective on what you want and what you don't want. And again, it's I wish everyone happiness, but again, there's a reason why there's a lot of people, that are leery or single or scared, or they don't want to jump into something to get hurt again. I don't blame people, I got you. Better Call Saul. I got you at the end. Unfortunately, your generation is a part of that TikTok generation, and if you have no work ethic and you're on TikTok all day watching dancing videos and fake prank videos, good luck, because it's going to be a long, unfortunate life for a lot of those people, Ooh, a little Edmund. Honestly, I'm not sure if that was an error right there or not. Come on, Tommy. Nice job by Luis Ariz, finally getting on base, but it's like almost too late. Next up, right fielder Fernando Tatis Jr. Can we get a home run or like some kind of play where we can at least get a 1 for the San Diego column, so double E isn't on like on fucking life support here? Pitches inside for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. I usually don't eat a whole lot. I do a lot of exercising and whatnot, but double play, only 1. Usually for me, like buttered toast, cereal, maybe like a ham sandwich with like some olives and pickles, maybe a small container of chips. Like I really, don't eat a whole lot throughout the day. I do a lot of exercising. I only eat 1 meal, either breakfast or lunch. Most of the time it ends up being kind of lunch. And then I end up having a big dinner, typically with like steamed vegetables and then like noodles or rice. Kind of just depends, curry, but it's all healthy stuff. I don't, I'm not eating fast food or anything like that. But I mean, I did the meal that I had on my Instagram where we went to Bay's Chicken in downtown, where I had the crispy, crisp cut fries, best fries I've had in my life. That's some of the best chicken that I've had in my life besides Sisters and Brothers in Seattle. There at Bay's. And then the homemade mac and cheese. That was one of the top 5 meals I've ever had. And if you go to my Instagram, obviously you can take a look at that photo there. That was probably the best meal that I've had. And then obviously getting some Voodoo Donuts after was money. That was like the cherry on top. But other than eating healthy, no. When I eat healthy, it's just eating correctly, just to try to make sure that I keep my weight down and I keep exercising and feeling good. So, but again, I am craving like round table pizza for like the supreme, with all the toppings, onion and green pepper, sausage, pepperoni, cheese, Like, if I'm going to go with a cheat meal, it would have to be like the King Arthur, with round table pizza. It was my favorite. I grew up on that. I wouldn't mind having some good street tacos or a good burger, but then I have to work out more to make up for it. Here we go, Padres. Yeah. Well, I'm only eating like pretty much 2 meals a day. And then after I eat, I walk, for about 45 minutes and whatnot. But it's not like a lot of food, I don't know. A lot to some of y'all might be not as much for me, but normally you're not supposed to eat late. I agree to that usually. But that's usually the people that eat late are eating Taco Bell. And then, they're in the bathroom or they're eating unhealthy, It just so happens when I eat dinner, typically it's, after I'm done streaming. So I have no choice. I have to eat at, typically 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then I go for a long walk with Paisley after, let that settle in. And then I feel good. And then we go for our exercise. I usually stay up for a few hours after, spend time with Paisley. And we'll watch some kind of program or snuggle. And, and we go that route. So. But I mean, to go from 270 pounds to 185, I feel like, the pattern that I have right now, obviously eating earlier would be more ideal for me. But obviously when you do this as a full-time job, I don't have a chance to eat at, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So maybe one day, when I have a day off, I can eat early, but. Trying into Machado. 3 balls and 1 strike. AOL dial-up. But sometimes it'll be like French toast, or some kind of sandwich. Like I said, I don't really need to eat a whole lot. My stomach can shrank a lot, from back in the day. So, the worst thing that I'm putting into my body is the Monster Energy drink, and that's it. And then other than that, no soda, juice, milk, water, and a lot of healthy stuff. Vegetables every day, and a lot of fruit. Like if I snack, I'm not eating cookies and chips. I'm eating blueberry, strawberry, blackberry, raspberry, bananas, stuff like that. So if I have anything in between my, breakfast or my dinner, it's usually fruit with Paisley. So I feel that's a good way to live your life, And I've kind of grown accustomed to being like, oh, let me grab some strawberries or some blueberries rather than, oh, let me go grab a bag of chips. I still get the craving for cookies and chips, here and there, but I've changed my life completely, man. I'm dedicated. Big swing and a miss. Machado strikes out swinging, 2 away. Yeah, I don't drink it anymore. Too much sugar. No beers. No liquor. And like I said, I'm not addicted to alcohol or liquor. So like when I go downtown to go play video games, you can actually get like mixed drinks there, So sometimes we'll like smoke and then maybe we'll have like a drink or two. But it's like, it doesn't affect me. I don't have to drink every day, and there was a point where I was drinking every day. Sometimes, those Modelo Cheladas, 2 on a stream, maybe 3, or doing like a 6-pack of Corona, but again, I feel so much better. And of course that stuff can get expensive now with the economy, the way that it's being. So I can't afford to even go back to those old bad habits that I had. So, and I would rather spend that money on Paisley than myself. So. Yeah, but I haven't had a Snapple since I don't know, it's been over a year. I definitely, as soon as I moved here with family, I changed everything. My mindset, my mentality, my vibes, my daily intake, my exercise regimen, so it's all about you guys and Paisley. That's it. You guys, Paisley. You guys, Paisley. That's my life. You guys are my life. And I appreciate every single one of y'all. High quality H2O. Little dribbler. Throw to first. And that is the end of the 8th inning. Yeah, this one is bad. Double E is on life support right now. We haven't even heard from him. He's punching the air right now. Next up for the Dodgers, 1 for 3 with 2 runs. First baseman, Mad Max Muncy. Batting second, catcher, Will Smith. And batting third, shortstop, Tommy Edman. Somebody check up on Double E. Yeah, but you're already like skinny and beautiful, so it's like, it's not like you're at this point where you're 30 pounds overweight and you have to carb count, and like I said, you're already in like a good shape, So I mean, like I said, I think that everyone goes through different phases in their life, and again, I feel that if I didn't have the support of certain friends, and if I didn't have support with my family or with Paisley, it'd be definitely easy not to, have the discipline, but again, it's like once you end up having positive addictions instead of, drinking too much or partying or, doing other stuff, with friends, sometimes you have to understand that, you have to try to better yourself. And, again, I would love to be able to, eat a burger whenever I want. And, at some point, I'm going to end up making homemade spaghetti. Like, there's not a lot of things that I feel that I can make really, really good, over the years. And I can just do like the basic stuff. If I follow instructions, I can do a little bit here, a little bit there, right? But I'm no Gordon Ramsay by any means, but I would love to be one day. But I love making spaghetti and having spaghetti leftovers, and I love doing tacos and burritos. Just as something is like, it might not be the healthiest option, but I love being able to have the leftovers of those two things. So that way it's like, not only can I enjoy the meal now, I can maybe have some later on, and then maybe even for a day or two after, depending on how much I make. But I haven't even been able to do that, because I've been so dedicated to this like vegetable fruits regimen that I'm on. So, but again, also too, it all depends on if you've ever been bigger, in your life, and like I said, to go from normally being around like 185 to like maybe 225, somewhere in that range, and then to go from like 200 up to like 270, and then kind of losing hope in yourself and not taking care of yourself, and then, having COVID period of time. I never had COVID, thank God. But ordering out 2 to 3 times a day, will definitely get you fat and unhealthy. And, again, I had to be able to make some changes, and I like where I'm at right now. I'm at 185. Perfect weight, lowest weight since I've been at high school, and I don't plan on getting over 200 ever again. So, if I end up fluctuating from 185 to 195, so be it. But with the amount of exercise and fruit and vegetable intake and, discipline, this is the best I think I've felt and I've looked since, maybe high school. So. Plus, when you end up being a little bit heavier, you feel it in your back and your legs and your arms. You feel it everywhere. And I love Flavortown. Don't get me wrong. I love eating all types of hot, spicy food, Indian food, American food, Italian food, Mexican food. I love it. But, you got to be able to do it in moderation. So. Yes. Ooh, oxtail baked potato. Yeah, it's all good. We can eat bacon double cheeseburgers together, Britt. Don't worry. Top of the ninth, 8-0 Dodgers. Nobody on with 1 out. Candace in the building. What's good? Well, the only realistic location would be Oregon or Washington. I mean, for me, either in, my little burb area where I live in, or like Seattle. Smith, deep right center, 2 away. Yeah, but also I think that even if you eat unhealthy, but you're exercising, every day or every other day or a few times a week, and you can burn off the bad food that you're eating. So, but again, if you're not eating healthy and you're not exercising at all, that's how you get fat, and that's how you end up feeling like shit, and the pounds that start coming on, But I love Flavortown. Pitches inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. How's Colton? How's the pup? How's the cats? How is everything out there? Edmund. I've been getting a lot more like huskies and like Samoyeds on my timeline, golden retrievers. Like I can't get enough of like dog and cat videos when they come up on my feed, especially on like Twitter/X. That's usually where I get most of them. I love it. Top of the ninth, runner at first with 2 outs, 8-0 Dodgers. Elliott on life support. Someone check up on Elliott. Next up is Gavin Lux. Popped up. Iggy is there. All right, all the Padres have to do is get 8 runs, no problem. We got Hawks and Niners tomorrow. I'm excited. Love that matchup. It's one of my favorite matchups all year. And I love it that we actually get some of the characters in Better Call Saul from, obviously, the original. There's some goats right there. Smart man. Okay. Where's the field trip to? Anything like semi-exciting or? Niners too. You know, they got some injuries as well. Obviously, I will have to take a look at the list of all the individuals, but it sounds like, Talanoa Hufanga, obviously Kinlaw is already out, for the year. So running on them will be a little bit easier, and instead of having Kinlaw there. So Kittle's a little bit banged up, but I assume he'll play. But again, if the Hawks, are a defensive kind of minded team with McDonald, and you still have a lot of those guys out on the D-line or at the linebacking core, it's going to be hard to beat the Niners, even though the Niners have been not very good this year. They've been very up and down. So, but like I said, even a couple weeks ago when the Hawks were 3-0, I said, don't be surprised if you end up dropping 2 or 3 games, especially with those injuries. It's like you can't make up, those individuals. You don't have the depth, to lose Byron or, a few of those others that you have at linebacker as well on the D-line. So, but hopefully, even with both teams being hurt, it'll be a fun matchup and it won't be a blowout one way or the other. Oh, a local park. Sounds like fun. Looking at Chase Elliott shirts, Brett. Finally, I'm on the NASCAR.com. Slow dribbler. Some of the shirts are kind of ugly, but some of them are kind of cool. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for on the shirt itself. The Napa shirts are kind of dope. Ooh, I got one that it's got Elliott at the top. It's got his face, and then the car, and on the back, it's got Chase Elliott 9 in the car on a different angle in the back. And they're really raking $45, but it would be definitely worth it to have. Yeah, send me a link on the personal store so we can figure out what shirts to buy. Bottom of the 9th, 1-2 pitch to David Peralta. I heard Paisley whining. Popped up, 1 away. Hold on, Paisley. I heard a little moan and a little whimper outside the door, and she was covered up in a little blanket. It's always the cutest thing when you see a dog, walking around in a blanket like Darth Vader. Bottom of the 9th, 8-0 Dodgers. Runner at first with 1 out. Now, what's the personal store? Is it just like ChaseElliott.com or ChaseElliott9.com? If you end up having a link, send it to me, because I want to make sure I look at all the shirts that are available, and then I can figure out, what would be the most ideal, especially if we're doing like men's shirts. I mean, he's got a lot on this NASCAR.com, but some of them are kind of ugly that I definitely wouldn't buy. And I normally would only buy, a blue, like an apple blue, a black, or maybe like a white shirt, depending on what it was. But I think 95% of these shirts I wouldn't buy. They're just not my kind of style, but there's a couple on here that look pretty cool. I would prefer to get one that has his face on it and the car, and then if there's something on the back of the shirt too. So, the Hendrick too. I totally forgot about Hendrick Team Store too. But I would want one that normally that has his face, the car. I could say like Elliott or whatever, and then having something on the back would be cool too. I mean, if we're gonna be spending like $45 on a shirt, it might as well be two-sided. Bottom of the ninth, 8-0 Dodgers. But if you have links to those Hendrick or his personal one, let me know. Because I just went on the NASCAR.com, and I think I've only saw like 2 that might be worth buying out of like 50. It's like if I'm going to buy a shirt, I don't want to just buy a regular shirt. I want to buy one that's different, that looks awesome. Even if it costs $45, who cares? Which is low and in the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Higgy. They take a big. Oh, okay. It's right down the middle for a strike to Higgy. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We're down to 1 more strike. And hopefully Double E will be off life support, and then they can get back, on it on Friday. So Hawks, Niners tomorrow, Game 5. Dodgers, Padres, whoever wins ends up advancing against the Mets. And then we'll do Ducks and the Buckeyes on Saturday. I'll be rooting for the Huskies against Iowa in the morning, as well as the Red River Shootout and a few other matchups. And then obviously Sunday we'll have Bengals and Giants. Monday we'll have Jets and Bills. Yeah, brutal. Yeah, it stinks. Injuries stink in fantasy and in real life. Popped up. Shallow. And there it is. Final score, Dodgers 8, Padres 0. All right, awesome. Yeah, anything that you can send me and let me know. And then if you have a particular one that you like, that you've seen either on the team store, through Chase Elliott, or through Hendrick, send me a photo. That way I can see what it looks like, and then I can kind of get this narrowed down as I look through like 100 different shirts. So that way I can decide which one I want. And then if you want one that's different, then I can end up getting that sent to you. I appreciate that. We'll get some good luck for the Hawks, for Reflect and Megan and a few others here as well. Hopefully we'll get a lot of that. And we need Gino to be efficient tomorrow. Let's go, baby. Can't wait for tomorrow. Yeah. Unfortunately, I will, not only do I stay up, but if I do fall asleep, I wake up, like an hour after. And then usually I get too excited and then I end up spying on everyone else's like moves. And then I end up not even falling back to sleep until like 4 or 5 in the morning. So, I got to find any kind of an advantage, to catch up to y'all. So if that means that everyone's sleeping and Tank Dell is there, Tank Dell is mine, baby. So we'll see how it goes. But shout out to everybody in the room. Shout out to all the people in the fantasy league, obviously, as well as Britt and her own with the fam. Good luck this week. Obviously, we know injuries are rough. We'll be doing Hawks and Niners tomorrow. Let's pray for Double E and his health after this 8-0 loss. This was brutal. And hopefully it'll be a little bit better of a game in Game 5 on Friday. But we got the Hawks Niners tomorrow, and I'm very, very excited about that. You guys are the best. I love you. I appreciate you. And I wouldn't want anybody else to be able to beat you guys. I'm very blessed to be able to have the type of people that support this channel. Reflect, you're the MVP. Thank you for supporting, so that way I wasn't at a 0. I really appreciate that. And again, final score, Dodgers 8, Padres 0. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Enjoy your field trip. Matt, have a great rest of your week at work. Reflect, Shep, and everyone else. Sarah, appreciate you filling in on the mod role. I really appreciate that as well. And Britt, I'll be looking at more Chase Elliott stuff. I'll send you a message, and I am out. Gang, gang. Appreciate you. Seahawks and Niners. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Gang.